Naruto, my Sharingan can be embedded with infinite gems. Chapter 1. Uchiha Kamui. Naruto World Warring States period. I'm alive. I didn't expect that transmigration would happen to me, and I would come to such a dangerous world to explore the memories of the original owner. The original owner is Uchiha Kamui, 6 years old this year. He is the nephew of Uchiha Tajima, the head of the Uchiha clan, the cousin of Uchiha Madara, and the cousin of Uchiha Izuna. His parents died in a battle with the Senju clan when the original owner was 3 years old. The original owner is an only child and has no other brothers and sisters. He is proficient in fire escape and Uchiha-style swordsmanship. Too weak, such strength was common in the Warring States period. It would be good if I could survive the 3-day and 5-day fights with the Senju clan. Don't even think about punching Madara or kicking a big pillar. Kamui seemed a little disappointed, but his fighting spirit was burning, and he was full of confidence. Give me some time, and I will definitely become the strongest person in the ninja world. Then from today on I will live as you, and I will let the name of Uchiha Kamui resound throughout the entire ninja world. Kamui said solemnly. Let's try to see if we can release a fireball first. As he thought, Kamui gathered chakra according to his memory and began to make seals with his hands. He stumbled the first time, but the second time, the third time, he became more and more proficient. Si Wei Shen Hai Wu Yin. Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. Kamui's face was filled with excitement. He had imitated it countless times when watching Naruto in his previous life, but today he really put it out there. Well, he was happy. I set off a few more fireballs, and from the initial eagerness to excitement, I finally felt bored. The Kamui who is tired of playing with the great fireball summarized 3 pieces of information. First, his own chakra can release about 10 great fireballs. It is about 50-50 compared to the Hokage of the same period, and Uchiha Itachi has more, but it may not be better than the prince, not counting the 9-tailed fox. The size of the second Kamui's fireball is slightly smaller than Uchiha Itachi's, but much larger than that of the second pillar. It is average and mediocre. The speed of 3-hand seals is at most 5 seals per second, which is not as fast as Uchiha Itachi's 6 or 7 seals per second. The first Hokage, Otoko, could make anything he shouted come true by clasping his hands together. You're so excited about a huge fireball that can't kill anyone in Naruto. How shameless. The Zushin Mall is opening. Loading products. Loading complete. All goods in the mall are not returnable or exchangeable once purchased. I wish you a happy shopping. Shinwei looked at the translucent mall in front of him with a bewildered look on his face. The time traveler's essential golden finger had arrived. He was excited, but not as excited as when he released the fireball just now. Perhaps it was because of the literal meaning of the time traveler's essential golden finger. Open the store page and look down from the top. The green lotus of creation, the only one in the universe, cannot be exchanged. The axe of creation, the only one in the universe, cannot be exchanged. The jade disc of creation, the only one in the universe, cannot be exchanged. The chaos pearl, the only one in the universe, cannot be exchanged. Shinwei was dumbfounded. Seeing that all kinds of world-destroying props in front of him were not allowed to be exchanged, he felt like he had gone to a treasure mountain but came back empty-handed. He continued to scroll down and finally saw something that could be purchased. The flame fruit, from the One Piece world, can be exchanged, mastering 10 types of fire escape ninjutsu. Fire Dragon Slayer magic, from the fairy tale world, can be exchanged, master 10 kinds of fire escape ninjutsu. The divine power was directly exchanged, and 2 burning forces suddenly emerged in the body. The 2 forces merged with each other and then returned to calm. As for the side effects, the products from the mall must be top quality. If you ask, the mall is awesome. Do you have a newbie gift pack? Weather. Yes. A map of the Naruto world is loading. Loading complete. Personal space, infinite, is loading. Loading complete. The Reality Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones in the Marvel Universe, cannot be embedded. Personal space is easy to understand. I don't have to worry about carrying too many things and not being able to pack them when I go out. Infinite personal space. It seems that no senior time traveler has the same treatment as me at the beginning, he. When I opened the map, the first thing I saw was the 5 great ninja kingdoms on the map, namely the Land of Fire, the Land of Water, etc. After zooming in, I could see the bases of various ninja clans, namely the bases of the Uchiha clan, the bases of the Senju clan, etc. After zooming in again, I could see small red dots in the bases, with names marked next to them. I saw one of the small red dots moving towards me at a fast speed, getting closer and closer. Shinwei looked up at the person coming, muttering the name marked next to the small red dot. Uchiha Izuna. Uchiha Kamui, the clan leader is calling everyone to assemble and prepare for the battle against the Senju clan. Kamui looked at the Warring States version of Hashira in front of him who was trying hard to act like an adult, and he couldn't stop smiling. He couldn't help but reach out and rub Izuna's head. Izunao slapped Shinwei's hand away, urged Shinwei to gather with the clan leader, and then looked at Shinwei expressionlessly. The smile on Shinwei's face was awkward, and the two of them set off to the clan leader. What Shinwei didn't know was that after Izunao turned around, the corners of his mouth raised upwards. Uchiha Tajima, the current head of the Uchiha clan and the strongest fighter of the Uchiha clan, frowned as he looked at the information on the table. After an unknown amount of time, he rubbed his forehead and turned around and walked out. The Uchiha members who came outside to gather came in twos and threes. Kamui and Izuna had just arrived and were standing behind a hedgehog-haired guy of similar age with a cool face. Uchiha Madara, a character that cannot be avoided when talking about Naruto, founded Konoha village together with the first Hokage, but later left Konoha village due to different ideas from the first Hokage, and faked his death after 3 days and 3 nights of the battle in the Valley of the End. After faking his death, he participated in the Fourth Ninja World War for the Infinite Tsukuyomi Plan. During the period, he became the Ten Tails Jinchuriki and fused the power of the Six Paths to become Six Paths Madara, making the prince suffer. In the end, he was attacked by Black Zetsu with a Black Tiger's heart-piercing attack and returned to the Pure Land. Kamui looked at the hedgehog-headed man in front of him with a cold face and slowly merged his figure with that of Madara-sama who was fighting against the coalition alone. Uchiha Madara felt the gazes from behind and his body shuddered involuntarily. Then he looked back at Kamui and silently took 2 steps back, standing at the same level as Kamui. Kamui also noticed Madara's little movement and blinked his triangular eyes. He couldn't help but think of the original work. When Madara and the Great Pillar were skipping stones on the river, Madara wanted to pee, and the Great Pillar was looking at him from behind. Madara felt the gaze and couldn't pee. He is really gifted. Recently, the Senju clan has repeatedly invaded the eastern defense line. For the glory of the Uchiha family, I decided to raid the Senju clan's base tonight. Everyone go back and prepare and gather at the open space in the base in the evening. After Uchiha Tajima finished speaking, he turned and walked into the house. Everyone dispersed, and Kamui stood there in a daze. Kamui was born in a peaceful era in his previous life, and he had to go to the battlefield right after he traveled through time, but it was just the right time to test the power of the fusion of the flame fruit and the fire dragon slayer magic. I think I didn't see a novice reward just now. Chapter 2. Reality gems, the only one in the universe, cannot be embedded, conditions are not met, and cannot be dropped after being embedded. The reality stone first appeared in the movie when Thor, Ragnarok was in the film. It can turn whatever one thinks into reality. Simply put, whatever the user of the reality stone thinks is right, and whatever the user thinks is wrong, and it does not accept any rebuttal. Shinwei looked at it for a long time but couldn't figure out how to use it, so he simply ignored it. He returned to his residence, sorted out the ninja tools, put them into the ninja tool bag on his waist, and found some food and water to prepare for the battle with the Senju clan. After eating and drinking, he put the remaining food and water into his personal space, picked up the Uchiha standard sword at hand, and slowly walked towards the open space in the station. As he walked along, looking at the solemn expressions on the tribesmen's faces, Shinwei seemed somewhat out of place. Uchiha Kamui! Izuna called from behind. Kamui looked back at Izuna who was fully armed, and his right hand involuntarily rubbed Izuna's head. "Asshole, pay attention to me," he said as he pushed Shinwei's hand away. Kamui put his hand on Izuna's head again and said, "I can protect my stupid brother now." Izuna didn't open Kamui's hand, nor did she speak. "Kamui!" Madara shouted as he walked over from a distance. Kamui silently withdrew his hand and stopped rubbing Izuna's head. According to the original work, Madara is obviously a brother Khan. When he sees me rubbing Izuna's head, there is a high possibility that he will look for a fight with me. "Kamui, we're going to raid the Senju clan later. You and Izuna follow me closely and don't leave my sight," Madara said solemnly and seriously. "I understand, Brother Ban." Kamui responded. The corner of Ban's eye twitched. Ban brother? What happened to this kid Shinwei today? He didn't call me that before. Hey, what did he call me before? This kid seemed to have always called me the young patriarch. Ban brother. It sounds good, so I reluctantly agree with his way of calling him. After figuring things out, Madara rubbed Izuna's head. There was a little more intimacy in his eyes when he looked at Kamui, but it was soon replaced by arrogance. The three of them walked towards the open space of the base together. At this time, more and more people came to the open space. The three of them stood in front. After a while, Uchiha Tajima walked to the front and looked at the clan members in front of him. He wondered in his heart whether there would be some familiar faces who would stay there forever during this raid on the Senju clan. He came to his senses, put aside all distractions, and waved his hand, "Let's go, for the glory of the Uchiha clan." There was no passionate pre-war mobilization, only a phrase for the glory of the family. After years of war, there was no sign of a peaceful future. Any fancy words were redundant in this era and could not inspire the hearts that were gradually numb due to the endless killing. The Uchiha group marched towards the Senju clan's headquarters in a mighty manner. Kamui's mentality also slowly changed because of the tribesmen around him. Looking at Madara's back and Izuna beside him, the last bit of indifference in his heart disappeared. Shinwei silently opened the map, estimated how long it would take to reach the Senju clan's base, and observed the garrison intelligence of the people in the Senju clan's base. The Senju clan's headquarters and the Uchiha clan's headquarters are both located in the Land of Fire. If you say it's far, it takes at least a while to walk there. If you say it's close, there's only a river between them, which is the river where Hashirama and Madara skipped stones on the river in the original work. The Uchiha raiding team came to the river and began to cross the river. Their feet were filled with chakra, and they walked on the water as if it were flat ground. By the way, in the Warring States period, climbing trees and treading water were the most basic skills, because they had to adapt to sudden battles in various environments, so climbing trees and treading water were necessary. After crossing the river, the speed of march slowed down a lot. Most of the time was wasted on eliminating traps. There were quite a few traps set up by their own side. Most of them were early warning traps, interspersed with lethal traps. The Uchiha raiding force cleared a path to facilitate the rapid passage of the tribesmen behind. Enemy attack. The people in the Senju clan's base quickly entered combat status. The clan leader led the team to support the Uzumaki clan and took away most of the combat power. Asshole, why did he do it at this time? Senju Xianjian cursed. Next to him was a young boy with one side of his hair being black and the other side being white. The boy was a little nervous, and the noise caused by the ninjutsu outside made his already tense body even stiffer. Ibanjian, go find the clan leader and ask him to come back quickly. Senju Xianjian said anxiously. The young man with one side of his hair being black and the other side being white is Itama, Senju Itama. Senju Itama tried hard to calm himself down, walked out of the house, identified a direction, turned around and left. When he was about to leave the camp, he ran into Kamui. Kamui got separated from Madara and Izuna when he was charging with the main force. He wanted to catch up with Madara and Izuna in front of him, so he just charged forward. He could transform into an element after eating the flame fruit. In this world, the only thing that could limit his transformation into an element was probably the sealing technique. So what was there to be afraid of? Kamui drew out the Uchiha standard katana and used the Uchiha-style swordsmanship to chop him. He didn't know how far he had walked, and there was no one around, so he went back. He happened to meet Senju Itama who was looking for the clan leader. Uchiha-style flash. A slashing attack with chakra attached to the sword. Senju Itama was in a panic and missed the best opportunity to dodge. At the critical moment, he still drew out his sword to block Kamui's attack. Feeling the power coming from the blade, Senju Itama's brows became more solemn. The first attack was fruitless, and Kamui's continuous attacks were all resolved one by Senju Itama. He was able to counterattack a few times when he had time, but they were all offset by the elementalization. Seeing that Senju Itama on the opposite side was becoming more and more relaxed, the chakra in his body was already running out. Kamui was secretly anxious, and his movements slowed down. Senju Itama seized the opportunity and knocked the knife in Kamui's hand away with one blow. As soon as the knife left his hand, Shinwei subconsciously used elemental transformation, but it had no effect, and Shinwei was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. It was too late to dodge. Seeing the knife of Senjuidama getting closer and closer, Shinwei's brain suddenly burst out with a special chakra, which rushed directly to his eyes. Shinwei's eyes were clear, and the world in his eyes became clearer and slower. 2-1 Megatama Sharingan appeared in his eye sockets. Reality gem, unique in the universe, can be embedded. Mosaic. The 1 Megatama Sharingan in Kamui's eye socket quickly changed under the surging power of the reality gem, 2 Megatama, 3 Megatama, and Manjiki. Finally, it became the Manjiki Sharingan, a pattern that did not appear in the original work. However, there was no time to study the ability of the Manjiki Sharingan. The Senjuidama in front of him slashed with a knife, and the Manjiki ability residing in his left eye was activated instantly. The knife in Senjuidama's hand gradually faded until it turned into nothingness. Senjuidama maintained the posture of holding the sword and slashed down with the sword. Where's my knife? Senjuidama had countless question marks in his mind. Kamui, I'm here to help you. Madara came over here with Izuna. Seeing this, Senjuidama turned around and left to look for the clan leader. Before leaving, he said to Kamui in a voice that only the two of them could hear, Uchiha Kamui, the next time we meet, I will defeat you. After that, he quickly left. Shinwei wanted to say something back, but found that the other party had disappeared. Chapter 3. Kamui looked at Madara and Izuna, who seemed to be hesitant to say something, so he decided to take the initiative. Where did you go? Why didn't I see you? Shinwei asked, changing the subject. When Madara heard Kamui's question, his face turned red and he turned his head away, not daring to look at Kamui. When my eldest brother goes to the battlefield, he is like a wild horse that has broken free from its reins. He looks for people to fight everywhere and doesn't care about anyone else at all. Izuna revealed. You're so long-winded. Madara scolded Izuna. Upon hearing this, Izuna stopped talking about her brother's embarrassing incident and turned to ask about Kamui's situation. Kamui concealed the fact that he had opened his Manjiki Sharingan, only saying that he had already opened his eyes, and showed his 1 Megatama Sharingan to the two brothers. Shinwei has also opened his eyes. X2. Madara and Izuna said in unison. Madara's tone was mixed with surprise, while Izuna's tone was mixed with a bit of loss. From Izuna, we learned that when Madara was fighting with a member of the Senju clan, he opened his Sharingan and easily killed the opponent. But when he found that there was no Kamui around him, he decided to come and look for him. He stopped and walked along the way and finally met up here. Shinwei looked at the two brothers in front of him and felt a little more intimate in his heart. He suddenly came to this strange world, facing strangers every day, without any sense of belonging. Now with the care of these two people, Shinwei has some different feelings about this family and this world. Thank you. Shinwei said sincerely. Madara was somewhat uncomfortable with such corny words and walked quickly towards the battlefield. Izuna called on Kamui to follow Madara's steps. The three returned to the battlefield. The battle was already over. Everyone on the Uchiha side was injured, but none of them were serious. On the other hand, the Senju side suffered heavy casualties. Uchiha Tajima gathered his clansmen and returned to the base. There was no conversation along the way. After returning to the base, everyone went back to their homes. Faint cries could be heard from some places. Kamui lay on the bed, opened them all, and looked at the description of his Manjiki Sharingan, his heart surging with emotions. Infinite Manjiki Sharingan, the Sharingan is inlaid with infinite gems. Different infinite gems can be inlaid to obtain different abilities. Because the infinite gems are inlaid, the pupil power is inexhaustible, so the Manjiki Sharingan will not go blind, but because of the infinite gems, it cannot evolve into the Samsara Eye. 1/6 has been inlaid. Return to the void, the kaleidoscope ability that resides in the left eye can turn everything in front of it into nothingness. Materialization, the kaleidoscope ability that resides in the right eye can materialize what is in your mind. There are gains and losses, it's very good and interesting. I don't have any direct relatives, so I can't follow the traditional path of Sharingan evolution. In the original work, those who successfully evolved Samsara Eye were all reincarnations of Indra. Who dares to say that this has nothing to do with it? I can only live in seclusion now, develop slowly, and live to the end. No, I can't think like this. What a loser. Today's battle made Kamui realize once again that the ninja world is dangerous. If you are not careful, you will lose your life. The development of the flame fruit must be accelerated. First, the skills in the original work must be developed. The Fire Dragon Slayer magic is the style of a battle mage. Unfortunately, my physical skills are so poor that this good thing is wasted. Practicing physical skills should also be put on the agenda. Senjuidama left the base to look for the clan leader Senjuifuma. Worried about the clan members in the base, he did not slow down at all. On the way, he met Senjuifuma and his group who were returning. Senjuifuma saw that Senjuidama was covered with wounds and immediately thought that something had happened in the base. He did not bother to listen to Senjuidama's explanation and called on the clan members to return to the base quickly. When he returned to the base, Senjuifuma gritted his teeth at the devastated base and growled, "Uchiha Tajima." Feeling very weak, Kamui decided to go find Madara for actual combat, as only actual combat could rapidly improve his strength. "Shinwei, the clan leader has summoned you." Izunao came to Shinwei with an order, urging Shinwei to go quickly. Shinwei was puzzled, not understanding why the clan leader came to him at night. Could it be that his elemental transformation was discovered? However, Shinwei was not panicked at all. Shinwei had thought of an excuse long ago. Walking into the clan leader's room, Uchiha Tajima stared at Kamui, trying to see fear in Kamui, but after staring for a long time, he found nothing. The air in the room became very depressing, and finally Uchiha Tajima spoke first, breaking the solidified air. "Kamui, is your ability to transform into fire on the battlefield today an awakened bloodline limit?" Uchiha Tajima asked in a doubtful but affirmative tone. Kamui had never intended to conceal his elemental ability. If anyone asked, he would insist that it was a bloodline limit. Now Uchiha Tajima's guess was exactly what he wanted, and Kamui was delighted. The clan leader is right. It is indeed the awakened bloodline limit. Kamui replied respectfully. Uchiha Tajima looked as if he hadn't expected it, and continued, "I heard from Madara that you've also opened your eyes." "Yes, the patriarch. The Sharingan is the bloodline limit that the Uchiha clan is proud of. I hope you can remember this." "Okay, you can go back," Uchiha Tajima said seriously. Kamui originally thought that Uchiha Tajima would ask about how he awakened his bloodline limit, but he never expected that he would not care about this at all. Come to think of it, leaving the famous Sharingan unused and studying an unknown bloodline limit is indeed not worth the loss. Thinking of this, Kamui smiled calmly and went home to sleep. The next day, Kamui asked Madara to practice sparring with him. The two walked to the river and got ready. Madara opened his Sharingan without saying a word, said "be careful," and threw the shuriken in his hand directly, then quickly formed a seal with his hands. Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. Madara's fireball was huge and fast, but Kamui was not panicked at all. He ignored the shuriken by elementalization and used dragon slaying magic to directly absorb the fireball. Fire Punch. It is not Kamui's character to just take a beating without fighting back, so Kamui hit Madara with a fire fist. Madara was a little surprised when he saw Kamui's fighting style and wanted to ask, but now was not the time. The cousin in front of him no longer needed his brother to protect him from the wind and rain. Although he was still a little immature, he would have no problem standing on his own in the future. Ka! Madara! The two gave up the ninjutsu duel and turned to close combat. It was indeed a hand-to-hand fight, with Kamui using his body to counter Madara's fist. Kamui's weakness was immediately exposed, as Kamui couldn't even touch the corner of Madara's clothes. On the other hand, Madara was at ease in the battle. If he hadn't activated the elemental transformation, he would have been beaten black and blue. Kamui opened his Sharingan in an attempt to get a chance to catch his breath, but the opposite happened. Kamui could indeed see through Madara's movements, but he felt his body was unusually heavy. As soon as he made a move, Madara changed his tactics, and Madara seized the opportunity and hit him hard. Kamui quickly changed his mind, observed Madara's movements, and learned from his combat experience. With the help of the Sharingan, Kamui's physical skills improved. Kamui slowly fought back and forth with Madara, taking 10 punches and punching back, which was blocked by Madara. But it was better than not hitting at all. With this 0-1 breakthrough, how far are the next 110 and 100? Chapter 4. Okay, that's it for today. Madara looked at Kamui who was panting and stopped him. Kamui calmed his breathing and asked, "Brother Ban, can I ask you to continue sparring tomorrow? I'll be here tomorrow morning." After saying that, he turned and walked towards the Uchiha base. Madara didn't directly say yes or no, but gave such an answer. However, this is in line with Madara's tsundere personality. Shinwei took out food from his personal space and ate it with relish. The book said that a happy mood can relieve fatigue, and the best way to be happy is to eat delicious food, but it's a pity that there is no frying, stir-frying, or deep frying like in the previous life. The Manchuhan banquet recipe can be exchanged. Learn to cook home-cooked dishes, recipes, can be exchanged. Sichuan cuisine recipes can be redeemed. Shinwei looked at the prompt that popped up in front of him with a frown on his face. He confirmed the exchange and then threw the dozen or so cookbooks into his personal space. Shinwei, who was full and had nothing to do, opened them all to look for items that could be exchanged. Instant noodles? Ham? Braised eggs? Coke? Hamburgers? Pizza? Potato chips? Shinwei regretted eating too much. He exchanged all of them and saved them in his personal space. Fortunately, these things were not only unconditionally exchangeable, but also unlimited. Food is the first necessity of the people. As the old saying goes, food is very important. Shinwei stored a large number of items in his personal space. Suddenly, Shinwei saw something that he urgently needed. Super Soldier Serum, from Marvel Universe, can be exchanged. Shinwei was overjoyed and exchanged it immediately. The blue serum with the injection gun appeared in Shinwei's hand. Shinwei pointed his finger at his arm and the serum slowly flowed into his body. After the injection gun completed its mission, it disappeared. The serum flowed with the blood and spread throughout the body. Pain. Extreme pain. The cells in Shinwei's body divided and reorganized, and the process continued in a continuous cycle. Shinwei gritted his teeth to stay awake. After an unknown amount of time, the pain slowly subsided. Shinwei stood forward, lifted his clothes, touched his abdominal muscles, and nodded with satisfaction. I'm afraid Itachi's Tsukuyomi is just this good. Kamui thought back to what had just happened and thought of Itachi's Tsukuyomi. Shinwei's clothes were soaked by sweat and stuck to his body, so he ran to the river to take a bath. After washing, he realized that he didn't bring any clothes. It's not like there's no room in the personal space, so why did he forget to throw a few clothes in? However, Shinwei also has a way, using the fire dragon slaying magic to dry the clothes. This is very magical. In the original work, the fire dragon slayer magic burned on Natsu's body, but Natsu's clothes were not burned. The fire dragon slayer magic could accidentally destroy half a city block, but it couldn't even burn his clothes. However, Shinwei soon figured it out. This was related to his ability to control the fire dragon slayer magic. Looking at the sleeve of his clothes that was burned, Shinwei swore that he really figured it out. Shinwei put on his clothes and felt the chakra in his body. When he used the fire dragon slayer magic just now, he felt that his chakra amount increased several times. Shinwei felt that the suffering he had suffered before was worth it. Shinwei returned home, threw all his clothes into his personal space, then lay down on the bed and had a good sleep. It was already the next day when Kamui opened his eyes again. Thinking about his agreement with Madara, he didn't even bother to eat and ran straight to the river where he had agreed to meet Madara. Sorry I'm late. Kamui said embarrassedly as he looked at Madara skipping stones in the river. Now that we're here, let's start. After saying that, Madara took a stance and was ready to attack at any time. Shinwei quickly entered combat mode upon hearing this, and the atmosphere between the two became tense. Sorry to bother you. A voice came from behind the two of them. Kamui turned around and saw a slightly introverted guy with a pot-cut haircut looking at him a little embarrassedly. Kamui immediately recognized this person as the first Hokage of Konoha village, Senju Hashirama. In the original work, when Madara was trying to skip a stone across the water, Dazusa threw a stone behind Madara and successfully threw it across the water. He then shared the secret of his success. This is how the two met and established a deep friendship. Looking at the two people chatting happily in front of him, or specifically looking at Madara who had a very different personality from his usual, Kamui felt like he was chatting with Rinwang in his previous life. At this time, a body floated in the upper reaches of the river. Dazu ran over and stood on the river to check the body. Madara's pupils shrank and asked, "Are you a ninja? This place is about to become a battlefield, let's go back quickly." Dazuzi asked a question that was not relevant to the question. Daibazu looked at the emblem of the feathered clan on the corpse and said to Madara, "Sorry, I have to go." He then jumped directly to the other side of the river. "Goodbye, you." Dazuzi wanted to ask Madara's name on the other side. "My name is Madara. Madara interrupted. Madara, don't tell strangers your last name. This is the rule of ninja. Madara said. You are a ninja after all. Dazusa confirmed what he was thinking and turned and left. Shinwei and the other person talked as if they were alone, and it was a pity that they were good friends who loved and hated each other all their lives. Madara looked at the receding figure of the great pillar and was about to return to the base. He turned around and saw the expressionless Kamui, who was looking at him with lifeless eyes. Madara then realized that he was supposed to practice with Kamui today. Madara deliberately ignored Kamui to hide his inner embarrassment. Brother Ban, do you have time tomorrow? Shinwei's words were filled with resentment. Madara heard the resentment in Kamui's words, but his expression did not change at all. He said that when he had time, he would leave as quickly as possible. Shinwei sat on the ground, took out a hamburger from his personal space, took a big bite, and ate 15 in a row before he felt a little full. Then he took out a cup of Coke and drank it all in one gulp. Hiccup. Ignoring the hamburger boxes and Coke bottles slowly disappearing in front of him, thinking that Madara and Dazusa had already become acquainted, the plot of the original novel suddenly came to his mind. After Dazu returned, he buried his 7-year-old brother Wajian. He had a fierce quarrel with his father, Senju Budajian, the leader of the Senju clan, because of their disagreement over their ideas. Afterwards, I became determined to change this wrong ninja world. Not long after, Dazu's younger brother Senju Itama also died. Senju Itama? This man left a deep impression on Kamui. One side of his hair was black while the other was white. I remember the boy I met during the last raid on the Uchiha base. His hair was black on one side and white on the other. In the original work, Senju Itama was blocked by 5 Uchiha men in front of a big rock and then killed. 5 Uchiha men bullying a little kid, this is definitely a dark history. Hey, Uchiha! Another war is about to start soon, and I have to go to the battlefield again. Kamui speculated the upcoming war based on the original work. Kamui looked reluctant, but he had no choice. To truly achieve peace, it would take at least 10 years after Madara and the Great Pillar became the clan leaders. I got off topic. The most important thing now is to consolidate the fighting skills learned from Madara and combine Madara's fighting skills with his own existing abilities. Kamui figured out the key points and began to look forward to the fight with Madara tomorrow. Chapter 5. For 4 consecutive days, Shinwei and Ben Li kept sparring with each other. Kamui slowly found his own way of fighting based on Madara's fighting skills and his own abilities. Once he used it, even Madara was a little flustered because he was not used to it. Madara had to be very alert and respond carefully. Kamui was very satisfied with the results of the past 4 days. The next step was to explore the ability of his infinite Mangeki Sharingan. Although now was not the time to expose it, he had to at least be prepared. Shinwei had also tried to activate the materialization, but the effect was not satisfactory. When activating the materialization, only objects can be materialized, not living things. The time spent and the amount of pupil power consumed also vary depending on factors such as the size and complexity of the object. Compared with the transformation, the return to the void makes Kamui very satisfied. It can be used on objects and it will succeed in 1 second. It can be used on living things and it will succeed in 10 seconds. This reminds Kamui of Izanagi. However, the transformation will not make the eyes blind after it is activated. You can also use the return to the void continuously on yourself, which will achieve the effect of Obito's hollowing. As long as the pupil power is sufficient, Kamui can continue to use the hollowing, but like Obito, he cannot attack during the hollowing period. Finally, there is Susanoo. Susanoo has 5 forms, from the initial form of arms and ribs, to the first form of half-human skeleton, followed by the second form of half-human skeleton wrapped in flesh and blood, to the third form of half-human wearing armor, and finally the complete form of the whole body wearing armor, which can exert the true power of Susanoo. With Kamui's crazy squandering of his pupil power, a red Susanoo changed from a skeleton to a half-human armored third form. Kamui stopped squandering his pupil power and kept the third form. He didn't want others to discover the secret of Susanoo yet. Shinwei looked at the Susanoo with a sword on his waist and a bow in his right hand and wanted to ask, who else? 6-year-old Mangeki, 6-year-old Susanoo, absolutely unprecedented. Shinwei was excited, and couldn't help but feel a little proud. Kamui crossed his arms and said, imitating Madara's tone, do you want to dance too? After having had enough of his power, Kamui released his Susanoo and strolled back home. As soon as he entered the house, he was a little surprised to see Izuna inside, but he immediately began to entertain her warmly. Izuna was a little uncomfortable with Kamui's enthusiasm, and hurriedly said, "Don't bother. The purpose of my visit today is to tell you that the clan leader has decided to lead most of the clan members to faint and attack the Senju clan in a month, and send elite ninjas to rob the supplies that the Senju clan is transporting to the Uzumaki clan." Kamui poured a glass of water for Izuna and listened to what she said quietly. Based on his understanding of the original plot, he guessed that Senju Udama must have died during the transportation of supplies this time. This time the clan leader has decided to send 6 elite ninjas from the clan to complete this mission. "Kamui, you are one of these 6 people." Izuna's words were like a bomb, and Kamui was really shocked. The description of this battle in the original novel only has a scene of the bodies of the Senju clan scattered all over the ground. There were originally only 5 people carrying out this mission, but for some reason, Kamui was added. Kamui originally thought that he would follow the main force to make a feint attack to contain the main force of the Senju clan, but he didn't expect to carry out such an important mission. Could it be that his awakened bloodline limit has shaken Madara's position as the next clan leader? Kamui's thoughts became darker and darker. Uchiha Tajima deliberately let Kamui carry out this dangerous mission in order to pave the way for his son Madara to run for the next clan leader. Kamui didn't dare to think about it any further. But even if so, Kamui was not afraid. He would pay more attention and immediately activate Susanoo if he found something wrong. Why not activate elementalization? Kamui was afraid that the other party had already figured out a way to restrain him. Kamui inquired about the information of the personnel who were carrying out this mission from the side. 5 unfamiliar names, and their expertise did not seem to be able to restrain elementalization. Although Kamui still had many trump cards such as Holoization and Susanoo, he did not dare to be careless. Once Kamui revealed these, he would probably be feared and even persecuted by the clan leaders. After all, the Uchiha clan had a civil war because of Izanagi, and they fought for the Sharingan. Izuna said goodbye and left, and Shinwei stood up to see her off. When she was leaving, she still couldn't escape Shinwei's pat on the head. Shinwei went back to his room and lay on the bed, thinking seriously about the real purpose of this mission. After thinking for a long time, he still had no clue. He stopped thinking about it and turned to consider the worst. First of all, I have to understand the purpose of this mission. I didn't learn to read people's expressions in my previous life, so it's impossible to read the faces of elite ninjas who have experienced hundreds of battles in this life. I can only turn to the perception products in the mall. I hope it's a false alarm. If it's really a killing game against me, I won't surrender. I can only take the initiative by surprise. Open mall. Search for redeemable sensory items. Poison Dragon Slayer magic, from the fairy tale world, can be exchanged. Collect 10 kinds of poison and take them for 10 minutes. Observation Haki, from the One Piece world, can be exchanged. Close the 5 senses for a month. Gold Attribute Xylan Technique, from Xylan world, can be exchanged. Close the 5 senses and live for 10 days. Kagura Heart's Eye, from the Naruto world, can be exchanged. Collect the blood of 10 Uzumaki clan members. What makes Shinwei most satisfied is the Poison Dragon Slayer magic. In the original work, the Poison Dragon Slayer made the protagonist suffer a lot by relying on his ability to hear other people's thoughts. Collecting by yourself means that you can't exchange it in the mall. There were no hospitals in the Warring States period, so it's impossible to collect them all at once. Each family only had 2 or 3 kinds of poisons at most. Shinwei couldn't blatantly go to the station to rob people. And there's the point of holding on for 10 minutes at the end. What if you can't make it? Forget it, give up. Observation Haki and gold attributed Xylan Jutsu are also impossible. Just closing the 5 senses is daunting. Once a person closes the 5 senses, he will be a moving and talking vegetable, and can only be slaughtered when in danger. Let alone what Uchiha Tajima thinks within the clan, there are countless small families outside who are planning to step on the corpses of Uchiha clan members to become famous in the ninja world, and other large families are also eyeing them and want to add insult to injury. There is no guarantee of safety within the clan, which is not advisable. When encountering a single ninja outside, they are killed, and it is even more dangerous outside. Give up, give up. The only thing left is the Kagura Heart Eye. The Uzumaki clan and the Uchiha clan are separated by the Senju clan. It is not too difficult to bypass the Senju clan's defense line if you spend more time. The difficulty lies in how to avoid being discovered during the collection process. The Kagura Heart Eye is a special ability of the Uzumaki clan. Once you get close, they will sense the malice. If you want to attack, you can only break in. It's difficult. Forget it, let's try your luck on the battlefield of the Uzumaki clan. The next day, Kamui found the clan leader Uchiha Tajima and said that in order to live up to the clan leader's trust in him, he planned to explore the area around the ambush site, hoping to complete the mission perfectly. The clan leader, Uchiha Tajima, did not stop him, but told Kamui to be careful, then lowered his head and concentrated on the task at hand. Shinwei left the base, feeling somewhat confused. Am I too sensitive? Chapter 6. As soon as Shinwei left the base, he came to the river and headed downstream. Downstream of the river is the Senju clan's defense line, which is weaker, with only one team of 10 people. Shinwei hid and observed their range of activities and trajectory, calculating the time interval for changing guards. Shinwei opened the Naruto world map and marked the best route. Shinwei repeatedly deduced and tried to make it foolproof. Shinwei waited until night and took advantage of the cover of darkness to start the operation. The sky was overcast tonight, which gave Shinwei more confidence in the operation. There were no dangers along the way. Shinwei breathed a sigh of relief, identified the direction, and headed towards the battlefield of the Uzumaki clan. Before entering the battlefield, Shinwei slowed down his pace. When there was no sound of fighting, he slowly moved over. Shinwei still opened the Naruto world map to see if there was anyone cleaning the battlefield. After confirming that there was no one around, he began to collect blood. Because he couldn't tell whether it was the blood of the Uzumaki clan, Shinwei put all the bloody things into his personal space. Kamui collected all the visible bloodstains on the battlefield one by one, and walked towards the Uzumaki clan's base along the direction indicated by the Naruto world map. He thought that after collecting so much blood, he would have the blood of at least 10 Uzumaki clan members. Shinwei opened them all, submitted the blood, confirmed the exchange, and the exchange was successful. Kamui opened Kagura's mind eye and found that he could clearly see everything that happened within 10 kilometers, 10,000 meters. This feeling of having everything under control made Kamui feel a little dizzy. Who are you? How can you have the heart of Kagura? A red-haired girl scolded. Kamui looked at the young lady in front of him and tried to sense with his Kagura mind's eye, but he could sense nothing. You don't have to waste your energy. Kagura's heart's eye is the special ability of our Uzumaki clan. We naturally have ways to avoid its perception. There was a hint of pride in the red-haired girl's tone. Shinwei gave up on sensing and looked carefully at the red-haired girl in front of him. Although she was not very old, he could tell that she would be a beauty when she grew up. Hey, I'm asking you a question, answer me quickly, how could you have the mind of Kagura? The red-haired girl was a little angry that Kamui ignored her. Kamui thought the red-haired girl looked cute when she was angry, so he decided to tease her. Sister, your hair color is the same as my mother's. Have you seen my mother? She said she wanted to play hide and seek with me. I hid for a long time and she never came to find me. Shinwei squeezed out a few tears and pretended to be timid. Upon hearing this, the red-haired girl imagined a story about a married Uzumaki clan member who discovered that her child possessed the ability of Kagura's mind eye, so she decided to bring the child back into the clan to raise him well. On the way, she encountered ninjas from a rival family, and for the child's safety, the mother hid the child while she went to lure the enemy away. Thinking of this, the red-haired girl's eyes softened a lot, and she said softly, "Little brother, I know where your mother is, come with me." After that, she reached out and grabbed Shinwei and walked towards the Uzumaki clan's residence. Kamui's heart was broken at this moment. Once he was dragged to the Uzumaki clan by this girl, the well-informed Uzumaki clan members would probably find out Kamui's identity as an Uchiha clan member. Then it would be difficult for him to leave. If the Uzumaki clan found out that he had Kagura's heart, they would hunt him down endlessly. If they told the Senju clan about the Uchiha clan, they would directly block his way and Kamui might die on the spot. Kamui immediately broke free from the red-haired girl's hand, opened his Sharingan, and looked at her with a smile. The red-haired girl was surprised that Kamui could break free from her hand. An orphan of Uzumaki who had no ninja training could actually break free from her. She turned back and saw a pair of scarlet Sharingan looking at her with a smile. At this moment, she understood everything. She was deceived by this guy. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but feel angry. At this time, a battle was inevitable. Kamui was afraid of alerting other Uzumaki clan members, so he did not dare to use ninjutsu and only used physical skills to attack. At this time, the effect of Kamui and Madara's sparring was seen. Kamui, who had the upper hand, launched attacks frequently, and the red-haired girl had to defend herself and was about to be defeated. The older the red-haired girl got, the more frightened she became. The guy opposite her was obviously younger than her, but how could he be so powerful in physical skills and have the special ability of turning into fire? No, if she continued like this, she would lose. Thinking of this, she deliberately let herself be knocked away by Shinwei, and took advantage of this time to unlock the special seal in her body, and some strange lines appeared on her face. Yin seal. Shinwei said uncertainly. Yin Fenjian is a good name. This move will be called Yin Fenjian from now on. The red-haired girl was very satisfied with the name Yin Fenjian. There was a huge wave in Shinwei's heart. Wasn't the Yin seal a ninjutsu developed by Uzumaki, Mito and Tsunade? How could it appear in this era? Shinwei didn't have time to think about it and threw himself into the battle. As soon as they started fighting, Shinwei found that his opponent was much stronger. Every move made Shinwei's arms numb, and he couldn't help but slow down his body movements. When the red-haired girl saw that Shinwei's attack slowed down, she thought that the opportunity had come. She concealed a black curse seal on her palm, found the right moment, and punched Shinwei in the stomach. Kamui's feet were lifted off the ground after being hit, and he spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. Kamui fell to the ground, and dense spells spread from the places where he was hit. The chakra in his body was like a pool of stagnant water. The fruit ability, Dragon Slayer magic, and Kagura's mind eye could not be used, and his internal organs were damaged to varying degrees. But fortunately, he could use the power of the Sharingan. Before the Manjiki, the Sharingan relied on the stimulation of special chakra in the brain to be used. After the Manjiki, the special chakra was sublimated into eye power. Eye power is different from chakra, so it is not within the scope of the seal. The red-haired girl took out a bundle of ropes from her ninja tool bag, tied the hands of Kamui, who had turned into an ordinary person, behind her back with one end, and held the other end in her hand. She let Kamui walk in front, pointed out the direction for Kamui, and ordered Kamui to walk towards the Uzumaki clan's residence. Don't think about running away. You should be aware of your own situation. Even if you can run away, as an ordinary person you cannot cross the defense line of the Senjo clan. Just follow me to the Uzumaki clan's base, and maybe you can live longer. The red-haired girl said calmly. Kamui walked slowly in front, talking to the red-haired girl from time to time, secretly opening the infinite Manjiki Sharingan and using Return to Void to eliminate the damage to his internal organs. Shinwei, whose internal injuries had been completely recovered, thought secretly that it would take 10 seconds for the seal in the body to return to emptiness, and 1 second for the rope to return to emptiness. In the original work, there was a sense of induction between the user of the sealing technique and the sealing technique. Once the rope disappeared or the sealing technique showed signs of being cracked, the opponent would be able to immediately discover and subdue him to increase the effect of the seal. Even if they returned to emptiness at the same time, there would be enough time for the opponent to subdue him to increase the effect of the seal. Just when Shinwei was at a loss, a bold idea suddenly came to his mind. Chapter 7. Shinwei suddenly had a bold idea. Although Shinwei has never tried to return 3 things to the void at the same time, this does not affect the successful launch of the Return to the Void. It's just that Shinwei feels that this idea is not so good. Shinwei decides to give it a try before implementing this bold idea. Sister, I want to pee. Shinwei asked tentatively. The red-haired girl ignored Kamui's address to herself, took out a kunai from her ninja tool bag and said, "Do you still want to pee now?" As she spoke, she gestured at the little Kamui with the kunai. Shinwei turned around and stopped talking. He was so angry that he thought viciously that he would teach her a lesson after I escaped. Kamui opened the infinite Manjiki Sharingan, turned around and used the Return to Void technique on the seals in his body, the ropes, and the red-haired girl's clothes. The red-haired girl looked at Kamui's infinite Manjiki Sharingan in surprise. Before she could react, she felt a chill on her body. She looked down and saw that she was standing naked in front of Kamui. A piercing scream went straight into the sky, startling the birds in the surrounding trees. The red-haired girl threw the kunai in her hand towards Kamui fiercely, but lost her usual accuracy in her haste. The red-haired girl didn't check whether she hit Kamui and quickly squatted down, trying to block it. Shinwei was in no mood to care about the sudden release of spring light at this time, and increased his pupil power to break the seal. At this time, the kunai was in front of him. If it was Shinwei before the seal, he could easily avoid it. Now Shinwei was an ordinary person and could only block the kunao with his arm. Red blood dripped down his arm to the ground. Shinwei finally unlocked the seal in his body, and feeling the power restored in his body, he breathed a sigh of relief. He pulled out the kunao on his arm, activated the return to void, and the wound disappeared. For some reason, Shinwei did not throw away the kunao, but put it into his personal space. Kamui looked at the red-haired girl in front of him who was crying in a low voice, feeling embarrassed and anxious, and showed a bit of reluctance. He took out a set of clothes from his personal space, threw it in front of her, and set off to rush back to the Uchiha clan's residence. After the red-haired girl sensed that Kamui had left, she picked up the clothes on the ground and quickly put them on herself. She touched the name embroidered on her collar and said in a voice that only one person could hear, "Uchiha Kamui." She looked in the direction where Kamui had left and cursed fiercely, "Bastard." After that, she gently touched the clothes on her body and lowered her head, not knowing what she was thinking. Kamui opened Kagura's mind eye, and the Senju clan's defense line was useless. Kamui crossed the defense line without anyone noticing and returned to the Uchiha clan's residence. I returned home and took a short nap on the bed. After daybreak, I went to the river and found that Ban was already there. Madara did not practice with Kamui immediately, but discussed the mission with Kamui. Although he talked about the glory of the Uchiha family all the time, his words contained the love of an elder brother for his younger brother. A month passed in a flash. On this day, Izunao found Shinwei with the order of the clan leader. Shinwei thought, what is supposed to come will come. There was no conversation along the way. Shinwei followed Izunao to the presence of the clan leader and found that the 5 big men who surrounded Senju Banjian were already waiting there. Shinwei walked up to them, stood in a row with them, and waited quietly for the clan leader to assign tasks. The clan leader Uchiha Tajima was dressed neatly and formally issued the order to plunder supplies. He appointed the man with a scar on his face as the captain. Kamui followed the 5 of them and left the Uchiha clan's residence, and came to the Senju clan's defense line upstream of the river and waited quietly. Bursts of fighting sounds were heard downstream, and the upstream defense line dispatched personnel to provide support. Kamui and his group took advantage of the empty defense line to cross it and headed straight for the ambush point. Arriving at the ambush point, Shinwei and his group waited for the arrival of the Senju clan's transport convoy. Soon, a transport convoy drove over from a distance. Looking at the convoy getting closer and closer, Shinwei felt a little nervous, not knowing whether it was the nervousness of carrying out an important mission for the first time or the nervousness of the truth being revealed. "Go ahead." The captain gave the order. The 6 members of Kamui's group faced the transport personnel of the Senju clan separately. Kamui went straight to Senju Udama, but Kamui did not use his full strength, maintaining an even match with Senju Udama, and opened Kagura's mind eye to perceive the situation on the battlefield. Senju Udama had never thought that he would meet the Uchiha clan in this escort mission, and he had never thought that he would meet Kamui here. "The last time we fought to a draw, I will accept the victory in advance this time." Senju Udama tried his best to win the battle quickly, but the facts were not as Senju Udama thought. Looking at the still relaxed Kamui in front of him, Senju Udama was shocked. At this point the battle situation had become clear. Excluding Kamui and Senju Udama, the 6 Senju members were no match for the 5 Uchiha members. 3 of them were killed, and 3 were struggling to hold on, and were now in danger. Senju Udama was enraged as he looked at the dead tribesmen and attacked Kamui like a madman, but it was of no use. Kamui exerted some more strength and fought Senju Udama on equal terms again. At this time, the only one from the Senju clan who was carrying out the escort mission was Senju Udama. After dealing with the others, the 5 Uchiha ninjas surrounded the 2 and looked at Kamui and Senju Udama in the field. Shinwei also sensed that the Senju people over there had been killed, so he did not hold back and kicked Senju Udama onto a large rock. At this time, Senju Udama didn't know that Kamui had been hiding his strength. Just as he mustered up the courage to resist, 2 kunao flew over and stuck into the big rock behind him. However, the situation in front of him made Senju Udama a little confused. "You are too impatient," the captain with a scar on his face said calmly. "That's no big deal, they're just 2 little brats, we can take care of them quickly," said the ninja with 4 bags hanging on his back. "Complete the task quickly to avoid any more troubles," said the ninja holding 2 short swords. The 2 kunao that just flew over were not aimed at Senju Udama, but at Kamui. Kamui has been keeping Kagura's mind eye open to sense everything around him. After Kamui kicked Senju Udama away, he sensed the malice in the hearts of the 5 people. Kamui has been keeping an eye on them, and sure enough, they took action. Kamui and Senju stood with their backs against a large rock. Kamui was thinking about how to get the mastermind from them. Senju next to him looked at Kamui with a strange look. "Why did you attack me?" Shinwei said calmly. "You don't need to know." The captain with a scar on his face looked at the calm Shinwei and spoke in a serious tone. "Give up resistance and let me take your body back to report," said the ninja with 4 bags hanging on his back. "Who are you reporting to?" Shinwei asked. "Of course to." The ninja with 4 bags hanging on his back was interrupted by the captain with a scar on his face before he could finish his words. "Shut up! What does it matter? He's already dead anyway, so let him be a clear-headed ghost before he dies." The ninja with 4 bags hanging on his back argued. "Kid, blame yourself for awakening a new bloodline limit. As long as the Great Elder gets the secret of the bloodline limit, Uchiha Tajima can give up the position of clan leader, and the Great Elder will be in charge of the Uchiha clan. At that time, Shinwei activated the Kagura Heart Eye and sensed that what the other party said was true. Knowing who was behind the scenes, Shinwei didn't listen to him continue to talk, and killed him with a knife. Chapter 8. Shinwei looked at the body on the ground and said, "The villain dies because of talking too much." The 4 members of the Uchiha clan were shocked by Kamui's strength, and Senju also stared at Kamui in amazement. No one cared that Kamui had an extra knife in his hand. Kamui went straight to the ninja holding 2 short swords, retreated after 1 strike, and threw a fire fist at the ninja with a bag hanging on his waist. The ninja with a bag hanging on his waist had no time to react, as he had never seen ninjutsu that did not require hand seals, and was instantly engulfed by the scorching flames and burned to ashes. The captain with a scar on his face didn't expect that Kamui had such powerful strength, but he attributed it all to the bloodline limit. The captain with a scar on his face looked at Kamui with fiery eyes and his greed was not concealed at all. Kamui easily dealt with the 2 men, leaving behind the captain with a scar on his face, a ninja holding 2 short swords, and a ninja holding a katana. Kamui attacked the ninja holding 2 short swords again. This time, Kamui did not retreat after 1 strike. Instead, when the weapons were struggling, he roared out a fire dragon, burning the swords in his hands together. A knife chopped from behind, Kamui dodged it by turning into an element, and just as he was about to fight back, a huge shuriken flew towards him, and Kamui kept turning into an element to dodge again. Unexpectedly, the shuriken was tied with steel wire, and under the opponent's control, it flew back to Kamui. Kamui blocked it with the broken knife in his hand, and the shuriken flew back to the captain with a scar on his face. Kamui threw the broken knife at him, and the captain with a scar on his face blocked it with the shuriken. Kamui activated the infinite Manjiki Sharingan and activated the return to hollow, and the shuriken in the hand of the captain with a scar on his face disappeared. The captain with a scar on his face was startled and quickly avoided the vital parts. The broken knife pierced into his left shoulder, and his left arm hung down limply. Emperor Yan! The area around Shinwei turned into a sea of fire. He raised his right hand high, and a huge red energy ball was gathering on his right hand. The Kamui was thrown at the ninja holding the katana, and the huge energy of Entei wiped out everything, leaving only a deep pit. Kamui looked at the captain with a scar on his face and was about to deal with him, but Kagura suddenly sensed with her mind's eye that 3 powerful chakras were approaching her rapidly. The leader was none other than Dazu, who had met Kamui once before, and he was accompanied by 2 members of the Senju clan whose names could not be told. Seeing this, the captain with a scar on his face rushed behind Senju and replaced the huge shuriken in his hand with a light kunai, which was pressed against Senju back. "Let go of Banjian and I can let you go," Dazuza said sternly. "If you want me to let him go, you should kill that kid over there first," said the captain with a scar on his face. Dazuza was a little confused when he saw the same family emblem on the 2 people. But the most important thing now was to save his brother. "Please fight with me." Dazuza walked up to Shinwei and said solemnly. From Kamui's angle, he couldn't see the kunai at all and couldn't use return to void. He had no choice but to fight with the great pillar. The big pillar clasped his hands together, and a huge amount of chakra burst out from his body. Everything around him was shaking under the momentum of the big pillar. Fire fist. Deliberately keep distance and use long-range attack moves to deal with the big pillar. The great pillar has not yet awakened wood release, and can only use ninjutsu such as water release and earth release to block Kamui's attack. The two men's large-scale ninjutsu exchange did not cause any damage to each other. Kamui kept changing positions and used Fire Fist in public, and secretly used Firefly Fire Daruma. No one paid attention to the green spots in the field, and everyone focused all their attention on the battle between Kamui and the big pillar. Firefly, Fire Daruma was launched behind the scarred captain, and the damage from the explosion caused him to lose control of Senju Utama, allowing Daibashi to save Senju Utama. The scarred captain was dying, and was burned to ashes by Kamui's Fire Fist. After comforting Itama Senju who was crying in his arms, Hashirama Senju walked towards Kamui. I remember you are Madara's younger brother. Thank you very much for saving Itama. Daibashi said solemnly. Kamui looked at the great pillar in front of him and really wanted to discuss with him about establishing the Konoha village, but the two families were still in a hostile relationship, and his own ninja had just kidnapped the other person's brother. It would be better to wait until only Madara and the great pillar were around before bringing it up. Kamui offered to take his leave, but was stopped by the two ninjas from the Senju clan. You can't leave. You are from the damn Uchiha clan. We can't let you grow up, said one of the Senju clan members. Just after saving Senju Utama, Shinwei found that these two people were blocking his retreat. Now they wanted to send Shinwei to see the old man Liudeo. Shinwei didn't think that these two people could keep him. Shinwei was about to take action. He saved Banjian, said Dazuzi. Young clan leader, he is a member of the Uchiha clan. One of the Senju clan members said unwillingly. He saved Banjian, Dazuzi said again with a stronger tone. Kamui seemed to understand a little bit why Madara broke up with the Great Pillar in the later period. Ha ha ha, what a joke. Do I, Uchiha Kamui, need the consent of your Senju clan if I want to leave? Kamui said domineeringly. You misunderstood, I didn't. Dazuzi explained quickly. Shut up. Shinwei rebuked unceremoniously. Upon hearing this, Dazuzi became depressed and looked lost. Shinwei activated the fireflies and fire daruma that were scattered throughout the field. The flames, explosions, and dust instantly overwhelmed the senses of Dazuo and the others, and Shinwei floated away. After the explosion, Dazuo found that Kamui was gone and said nothing. The accompanying Senju clan ninja said ruthlessly, he ran fast. Senju Utama had also stopped crying. Everything that happened before was a big blow to Senju Utama. Senju Utama didn't know what the meaning of being a ninja was, but Senju Utama knew that only by becoming stronger could he find the answer. Senju Utama's mind was clear, and the chakra in his body changed. Large trees broke out of the ground around him. Dazuo looked at the rapidly growing tree in front of him, and then looked at Senju Utama, who caused all this, not knowing whether it was good or bad. At this time, the chakra in Dazuo's body resonated with Senju Utama's chakra, and a rapidly growing tree appeared next to Dazuo. The Great Pillar and Senju Utama sensed that the chakra in their bodies no longer changed, and the amount of chakra increased dramatically. Chakra has a healing effect, and with a seal, a large tree broke out of the ground. The Great Pillar and Senju Utama had some guesses about the ninjutsu they used, and decided to go home to ask their father Senju Butsuma. Senju Butsuma was shocked when he saw the ninjutsu used by his two sons. He guessed that it should be a bloodline limit. Senju Butsuma was very optimistic about this kind of ninjutsu that could change the battlefield in an instant. He asked his two sons to stay in the clan for a while to concentrate on exploring the bloodline limit, while he secretly went to the grave of his deceased wife and children to have a drink. Chapter 9. Kamui returned to the Uchiha clan's residence and found the clan leader Uchiha Tajima to hand in the task. Kamui concealed the fact that he knew the Great Pillar and told the clan leader Uchiha Tajima the whole story of the Great Elder's conspiracy. The clan leader Uchiha Tajima was aware of the elder's affairs, but he did not expect him to attack his clan members, and he did not expect Kamui to kill 5 elite ninjas by himself. The clan leader Uchiha Tajima did not believe it at first, and he opened his 3 Megatama eyes to stare at Kamui. Kamui was not to be outdone and used his 3 Megatama Sharingan to look directly into the eyes of the clan leader Uchiha Tajima. The clan leader Uchiha Tajima looked at Kamui with a look of satisfaction. Let's end this matter here and don't mention it to anyone. 5 elite ninjas in the clan unfortunately died in this mission, and Kamui, you completed the mission and escaped under their cover. Well, you are tired too, go home and rest. Clan leader Uchiha Tajima made the final judgment. Kamui did not dwell on this issue and obediently followed the arrangements made by the clan leader Uchiha Tajima. What Kamui did not know was that the clan leader Uchiha Tajima went to find the chief elder that night, and no one had ever seen the chief elder since then. The position of chief elder was taken by another respected clan member. After returning home, Shinwei took out the food he had stored from his personal space and ate a lot. After he was full, he fell asleep. When he opened his eyes again, it was already noon the next day. Kamui came to the river and looked at Madara and the Great Pillar who were already there, and always felt like he had missed something. When Dazusa saw Shinwei, he immediately apologized to him, saying that he had failed to control his people and that they should not repay kindness with enmity. Shinwei said magnanimously, "I am not angry, your people are not wrong, it is this world that is wrong." Upon hearing this, Dazusa's eyes lit up and he proposed his idea of establishing a village. Kamui added that the name of the village should be Konoha Village, the village chief should be called Hokage, and Konoha Hospital, Ninja School, Anbu, Police Department, Mission Grading System, Ninja Grading System, etc. should be established. Madara agreed with this. Whether it was to support his best friend's dream or to protect his younger brother, Madara had no reason to refuse. Dazusa carefully pondered the ideas proposed by Shinwei and found that they were very suitable for his own ideas. He was eager to seek the support of his father Senju Fugen. "Hashirama, you are too naive. Do you think your father will support you? Even if he does, and the Uchiha clan leader also supports you, the hatred between the two clans cannot be eliminated by a few words from you," Kamui said bluntly. Dazusa instantly fell into depression and asked, "Is there really no way to achieve this?" "Yes, you can achieve it after you and Brother Ban become clan leaders," Shinwei said confidently. The Great Pillar thought seriously for a moment, agreed with Kamui's statement, and after saying goodbye to Madara and Kamui, he left the river. "Kamui, use all your strength and fight me seriously," Madara said seriously. At this time, Kamui was complaining in his heart that the big pillar was a big megaphone and told everything to Madara. Kamui, who couldn't escape, took a fighting stance and waited for Madara's attack. Madara was not polite and immediately opened his one Megatama Sharingan and used all his strength. Kamui pressed Madara down without opening his eyes. Madara was forced to defend himself and was about to lose. Madara thought to himself that he could not lose to his brother. The unyielding will in his heart and the oppression brought by the battle with Kamui made Madara's Sharingan skip the 2 Megatama and evolve into the 3 Megatama Sharingan. Madara, who had evolved into a 3 Megatama Sharingan, was no longer forced to defend, but instead had the upper hand. Kamui opened a 1 Megatama Sharingan, and Madara's advantage was gone, and the two became evenly matched. During the fight with Kamui, Madara quickly adapted to the amplification effect brought by the 3 Megatama Sharingan. Madara, who was very familiar with Kamui's fighting style, saw through Kamui's movements through the 3 Megatama Sharingan. Kamui fell into a disadvantage, but there was no sign of defeat. "I lost," Shinwei said calmly. "You didn't lose. It's not fair to use 3 Megatama against 1 Megatama," Madara said objectively. Kamui secretly complained in his heart, "If you knew that you once crushed the Mangekyo with a Megatama, you wouldn't think so." "Brother Madara, what do you think of Hashirama's dream?" Kamui didn't want to discuss the Sharingan, so he changed the subject. "If there really is such a village, I want to see it with my own eyes," Ban replied after thinking for a moment. "Such a village will be built in our hands," Shinwei said confidently. In the days that followed, Kamui and Madara were sent by the clan leader Uchiha Tajima to carry out various tasks independently. Both of them completed the tasks excellently, and their prestige within the clan also rose. On this day, Kamui came back from the mission and found that Madara's aura was much gloomier. After careful inquiries, he learned that Madara's private meeting with the Great Pillar was discovered. The two fathers and their sons started fighting. Madara and the Great Pillar stood between the four to stop them. Madara also erased the Great Pillar from his heart just like in the original work, but the difference is that in the original work, Madara opened his eyes because of this, but now Madara has opened the Mangeki Sharingan, and he learned from Madara that the Great Pillar has mastered the bloodline limit of wood release. Shinwei felt that these two people were worthy of being the biological sons of the old man Liudeo, as they gave him the cheats 10 years in advance. Recalling that in the original work, after the two broke up, the fighting between the two clans escalated and developed into daily fights. The chiefs of the two clans died in battle one after another. After Madara and Daihashi became clan chiefs, they were still fighting. Senju Tobirama killed Izuna, and Madara transplanted Izuna's Mangeki Sharingan, evolving it into Eternal Mangeki Sharingan. He made a desperate effort to lead the Uchiha clan to fight against Daihashi's clan again. First, he was poisoned by Daihashi's pollen of the flower tree world, and then fought with Daihashi for a whole day before falling to the ground exhausted. He was moved by Daihashi's words and finally joined forces with Daihashi to establish Konoha village. Among them, Daibashi once said that he had directly sent the document of the truce agreement to Madara, but Madara seemed unaware of it. Kamui guessed that it was probably the work of Black Zetsu, the mama's boy and old scheming bastard. Whether it was for the sake of peace in the ninja world or to prevent Madara from insisting on launching the infinite Tsukuyomi, Kamui did not intend to let Black Zetsu continue to stir up trouble behind his back. Kamui decided to go to the Uzumaki clan to learn the sealing technique. Although it was available in the mall, it only sold goods and was not responsible for teaching. The sealing technique was outstanding in its obscurity, which made Kamui too lazy to even read the exchange conditions. Speaking of the Uzumaki clan, Shinwei thought of the red-haired lady he had met before. She was so skilled in sealing techniques that Shinwei was caught off guard. Shinwei thought that he could ask her for help in teaching him, so he set off to the Uzumaki clan. When crossing the Senju clan's defense line, Kamui happened to hear the news that the Senju clan was going to marry the Uzumaki clan. Kamui remembered that the two people who were going to marry were the eldest son of the Senju clan, Hashirama, and the eldest daughter of the Uzumaki clan, Mito Uzumaki, and suddenly thought of the red-haired girl. It can't be that coincidental. Chapter 10. It can't be that coincidental. Shinwei was not sure about his guess, and he couldn't help but speed up a bit. Kamui came to the battlefield of the Uzumaki clan and used Kagura's heart eye unscrupulously. After a while, the red-haired girl appeared in front of Kamui. "Can you teach me the sealing technique?" Shinwei said straight to the point. "Why do you want to learn the sealing technique? What do you want to seal?" asked the red-haired girl curiously. "Secret," Shinwei said mysteriously. "I won't teach you unless you tell me what you want to seal," the red-haired girl said angrily. "A black mass similar to chakra's substance," Shinwei said helplessly. "What is this?" "I can teach you, but I want to go with you." The red-haired girl became very curious. "No, it's too dangerous." Shinwei refused without even thinking. "Are you concerned about me?" The red-haired girl looked at Shinwei expectantly. "No," Shinwei said guiltily. Seeing the guilty Shinwei in front of her, the red-haired girl smiled even more. She took the initiative to explain the sealing technique to Shinwei, and Shinwei studied hard. However, his talent in sealing technique was too poor, and he made no progress after studying for a long time. Shinwei felt dizzy when he saw the spells in front of him. Shinwei forced himself to calm down and slowly figured out some tricks. Sealing technique. It was Shinwei's first time using the sealing technique, and the spell was as slow as a snail, but at least he had gotten started. Kamui was not satisfied with the speed of his sealing technique, so he practiced on his own. The red-haired girl watched Kamui practice with a bit of admiration in her eyes. There is a joke in Naruto: Uchiha produces handsome men, Hyuga produces beautiful women, and Uzumaki produces nuclear bombs. Kamui traveled through time and space to become a member of the Uchiha clan, and with his bad and naughty appearance, he is most likely to attract girls. "It's getting late. I should go back." "You should go back too," Shinwei said. "Will you come tomorrow?" the red-haired girl said with a tone of expectation. "If something urgent happens and I can't come, if nothing else, I will come to find you," Shinwei said. After Shinwei finished speaking, he turned and left. The red-haired girl kept watching Kamui's back as he disappeared, staring blankly in the direction where Kamui left. Only after Kagura could no longer sense Kamui's chakra with her mind's eyes did she return to the Uzumaki clan's residence. On the way back, Shinwei remembered that he seemed to have forgotten to ask the red-haired girl's name, so he thought about asking her next time they met. However, it was too troublesome to rely on his legs every time they met, so Shinwei decided to exchange for the Flying Thunder God technique. The sealing technique he just learned gave Shinwei a conjecture that needed to be verified. It is ironic that the second Hokage, Senju Tobirama Uchiha, was a black man all his life, and the ninjutsu he created was most suitable for users of the Uchiha clan. Shinwei discovered that the exchange conditions for mall items would change according to the abilities involved. For abilities of the same type involved, the exchange conditions were relatively easy, whereas for abilities of the same type, the exchange conditions were relatively harsh. This allowed Shinwei to find a way to quickly learn the Flying Thunder God technique. Open the mall and find the kaleidoscope pupil technique. Kamui, from the Naruto world, can be exchanged. Moon reading, from the Naruto world, can be exchanged. Amaterasu, from the Naruto world, can be exchanged. Koda Amatsukami, from the Naruto world, can be exchanged. Kagutsuki, from the Naruto world, can be exchanged. Confirm the exchange is successful. Amaterasu and Kagutsuki are fused with the power of the flame fruit and the fire dragon slayer magic. After the fusion, any one of the abilities used will have the characteristics of the other abilities. The cooldown time of Bi Tian Shen's skill was as long as 10 years. After improvements in the mall, the cooldown time was shortened to 1 year. Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu, and Kagutsuki are all of the type that can be used as long as one has eye power, which makes Kamui, who has infinite eye power, feel that it is well worth the money. Kamui, the eye technique with the same name as itself, has been improved in the mall and no longer has the problem of being unusable after being blurred for 5 minutes. But this is not the point. The point is that Kamui is a space-time ninjutsu. Kamui's infinite Mangeki Sharingan is on par with the eternal Mangeki Sharingan in terms of level. It is not difficult to master the pupil technique of the Mangeki Sharingan, which allows Kamui to easily master the space-time ninjutsu Kamui. Using Kagura's mind's eye to perceive the use of the space-time ninjutsu Kamui is exactly the entry requirement for the Flying Thunder God technique. Let's talk about the Flying Thunder God technique. The function of the Flying Thunder God technique is a coordinate, and its essence is a sealing technique that seals the user's chakra. The user senses the Flying Thunder God technique that seals his own chakra through space, and then uses the instant body technique to transfer himself over. Kamui verified his guess with full confidence. He carved the Flying Thunder God pattern on the kunao and threw it out casually. He sensed the space, and then through the space, sensed the Flying Thunder God pattern and sensed a blurry light spot. The art of Flying Thunder God. The Kamui disappeared from the spot, and the kunao with the Flying Thunder God technique was stuck in the ground alone. In the Uchiha clan's headquarters, the clan leader, Uchiha Tajima, launched a war against the Senju clan. Madara and Izuna also went to the battlefield with the clan members. Madara and the Great Pillars Susanoo and Wood Release were in a stalemate. Izuna and Senju Tobirama's two swords collided, and the stalemate continued. Uchiha Tajima and Senju Butsuma's ninjutsu clashed, and the stalemate continued. Both sides suffered casualties, and the war continued. Suddenly, they saw large trees sprouting from the ground in the direction of the Uchiha clan's residence, and bursts of fire were seen. The people on the Uchiha side had already begun to think of retreating. Itama succeeded. "Let's destroy the damn Uchiha in one go," Senju Fusuma said excitingly. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, the Uchiha clan leader, Uchiha Tajima, gathered his clansmen and said, "You guys retreat quickly, I'll stay behind to stop the enemy." He then called Madara to his side and said, "Madara, the Uchiha clan will depend on your leadership from now on. I ask you to protect your brother." After saying that, he pushed Madara away and turned to join the battle. "Come on, you bastards of the Senju clan." Uchiha Tajima's voice attracted the attention of many members of the Senju clan. Uchiha Tajima launched a series of huge fire ninjutsu without regard for consumption. Even if the Senju clan reacted, they would inevitably suffer heavy casualties. The Senju clan launched a counterattack with ninjutsu to suppress Uchiha Tajima's fire ninjutsu. The scale of the fire escape was getting smaller and smaller, which meant that Uchiha Tajima's chakra was getting less and less. The sound of fighting here disappeared. Senju Fusuma dragged his seriously injured body to look at his old opponent, ordered the tribesmen to bury him with honor as a sign of respect, and called the Great Pillar to his presence and said weakly, "Today I hand over the Senju clan to you, and I look forward to the day when the Senju clan will flourish in your hands." After that, he was carried back to the Senju clan's residence by the tribesmen and later died. Let's not talk about how Madara and Hashirama were immersed in sorrow and took over the position of clan leader, let's talk about where our protagonist Kamui went. After Kamui used the Flying Thunder God technique to send himself away, he came to a town with European-style buildings. Kamui wondered if there was a town with European-style buildings in the Naruto world. He walked along the street to the center of the town, looked up at the sign of the building in front of him and screamed. Fairy Tale. Chapter 11. Fairy Tale. Isn't this a guild that only exists in the fairy tale world? How did it appear here? Wait, did I use the Flying Thunder God technique and fly myself away? Shinwei thought as he walked into the guild, which was full of people chatting and bragging. Then a skinny old man came towards him. "Welcome to the Fairy Tale Guild. How can I help you?" the old man asked politely. Kamui recognized at a glance that the little old man in front of him was Makarov, the president of Fairy Tale. "President Makarov, I want to join the Fairy Tale Guild," Kamui said bluntly. "No problem, kid." Then he let Shinwei choose where to put the guild seal. Shinwei looked at the red seal on his left arm and felt excited. "Welcome new members to the guild," Makarov said loudly. The atmosphere in the guild became lively again. At this time, a young man with pink hair and a white scarf ran over and asked to duel with Kamui. "You jerk! No one would challenge someone to a duel right away," said a young man in shorts. "Ice Cube, you're going to scare people away if you just take off your clothes casually," the boy with pink hair and a white scarf retorted. Kamui looked at the two people confronting each other and recognized the identities of Natsu and Gray. "My name is Uchiha Kamui, you can just call me Kamui." Kamui introduced himself confidently. "My name is Natsu, and that exhibitionist is Gray. Can you duel with me?" Natsu said simply and directly. "Okay." Shinwei agreed readily. Shinwei also wanted to know how big the gap was between him, the fake, and the real one. The two came to the outside of the guild, and the members of the guild gathered around them. Fire Fist. Shinwei used the Fire Fist to launch a tentative attack at the beginning. When Natsu saw the fire, his eyes lit up and he began to eat it. After putting it in his mouth, he found that the taste was wrong. "Strange, why does your flame taste weird?" Natsu asked confused. "That's because my flame contains the nature of earth, so it will not be restrained by water," Shinwei replied. Natsu seemed to understand, but immediately put the thought aside and attacked Kamui. Roar of the Fire Dragon. Natsu spewed flames from his mouth and attacked Kamui. Shinwei looked at the flames and opened his mouth to swallow them. Everyone present was shocked. Hey, you just ate the flame. Isn't that Natsu's Fire Dragon Slayer magic? There are two people in the guild who can use Fire Dragon Slayer magic. Have you seen Ignil too? Natsu gave up the duel and asked Kamui. "I have never seen Ignil. I learned the Fire Dragon Slayer magic in a ruin," Kamui explained. After hearing this, Natsu left in a daze, and everyone in the guild also dispersed. Kamui walked into the guild and asked President Makarov about books on space magic. After getting the answer he wanted, Kamui dived into the library to browse books. In the world of Naruto, there are very few time-space ninjutsu, and there is no documentation at all, but in the world of Fairy Tale, there are countless books of this kind. Kamui wants to figure out why the Flying Thunder God technique can teleport himself to the world of Fairy Tale, and since it can be teleported here, can it also be teleported to other worlds? Shinwei was a little tired after reading books in the library for a whole day and night, so he stood up and walked out of the library to stretch his legs. As soon as he entered the guild hall, he saw two little girls who were at loggerheads. Shinwei turned around and wanted to run, but was stopped by the two girls at the same time, so he had no choice but to stay where he was. "Who are you? Why haven't I seen you before?" asked the white-haired girl curiously. "My name is Uchiha Kamui, and I just joined the guild today," Kamui said. "My name is Myra Jane Strauss. Iluza Chocolado. Which one do you want to join, Myra's gang or Urza's gang?" Myra asked. "President, why are you here?" Shinwei said, looking at the empty place. Myra and Urza followed Kamui's gaze and did not see the president at all. They turned back to question Kamui, but there was no trace of Kamui. After fooling Myra and Urza, Kamui returned to the library and after making sure that they did not chase him, he continued to read books. After Shinwei comprehended a piece of knowledge every day, he couldn't wait to experiment with it, and today was no exception. Flying Thunder God Technique. Kamui finally succeeded in teleporting to the side of the Kunao. This success made Shinwei ecstatic and surprised everyone in the guild. Shinwei studied the contents of the book diligently and was often not seen, which was nothing new to the guild. A month later, Shinwei mastered all the knowledge in the book. He walked out of the library, came to the task bar, looked around, and found no task suitable for him. "Hey, Kamui, are you here to do the mission too?" Natsu said cheerfully. "Yes, but after looking around, I couldn't find anything suitable," Shinwei replied. Natsu leaned close to Kamui's ear and said mysteriously, there is a taskbar on the second floor. Those are tasks that only S-class wizards are allowed to perform. Shinwei's eyes lit up when he heard this. Yes, how could I forget this? He acted immediately and used the newly acquired Flying Thunder God formation to instantly appear on the second floor and selected a mission to destroy the Dark Guild. Flying Thunder God formation is a combination of Flying Thunder God technique and magic from the fairy tale world. It can be teleported at will within the sensing range without the need for Kunao. Kamui has the 10 km sensing range of Kagura's Heart Eye, which greatly enhances Flying Thunder God formation. However, if you want to teleport between two worlds at a fixed point, you still need a Kunao as a marker. Put it down, this is not a task you can accomplish. A blonde young man with headphones said in a deep voice. Kamui took a look at him and recognized him as Laxus, the grandson of Makarov. As if to deliberately irritate him, he put the mission into his arms with a particularly exaggerated movement. Asshole! Laxus said angrily. As he spoke, lightning surrounded his body and he punched Shinwei. Shinwei was not willing to be outdone and threw a punch wrapped in flames. After the two fists collided, Laxus was knocked back by one punch. Laxus showed some strength, but was still knocked back by the same punch. Thunder Dragon's collapsing fist. Laxus no longer hid his strength and used the Thunder Dragon slaying magic. The Iron Fist of the Fire Dragon. Kamui counterattacked with the Fire Dragon slaying magic. Laxus was beaten back again, and two deep footprints appeared under Kamui's feet. The contempt in Laxus' eyes was replaced by anger. He had always been dissatisfied with the fact that President Makarov agreed to some weaklings to join the guild. Now he was defeated by the weakling in his eyes, in front of so many people, without any fancy moves. It was unforgivable. The violent thunder force destroyed everything around Laxus. There was only divine power in Laxus' eyes, and the battle was about to break out. Enough, do you want to dismantle the guild? President Makarov, who turned into a giant, stopped them. Chapter 12. Enough, do you want to dismantle the guild? President Makarov, who turned into a giant, stopped them. Shinwei waved his hand indifferently. Laxus reluctantly withdrew the violent thunder power, snorted coldly, turned around and left, glaring at Shinwei fiercely before leaving. What exactly happened? Shinwei, how come you went upstairs like that? President Makarov asked in a deep voice. The mission on the first floor is not suitable for me. I'll go to the second floor to see if there is any suitable one for me. Shinwei confessed. You are indeed strong enough to carry out the tasks on the second floor. Have you found a task that suits you? President Makarov said. Yes, this mission to destroy the Dark Guild. Shinwei said as he took out the task list. President Makarov felt that Kamui was more than capable of carrying out this mission, so he did not stop him. Shinwei left the guild with a mission, and the people on the first floor of the guild woke up from their dreams. No way, Kamui actually defeated Laxus head-on. Laxus is also a dragon slayer. Shinwei is actually able to carry out the mission on the second floor. Shinwei used the Flying Thunder God formation to speed up his journey and soon found the Dark Guild in the mission. After confirming that the divine power was correct, he first used Firefly Fire Daruma to spread it around, and then raised his right hand to condense the Flame Emperor. Emperor Yan. The red and black fireball hit the Dark Guild, and the Dark Guild immediately turned into ruins. Shinwei walked forward with swagger, and fireflies and fire Daruma stars filled the surroundings. Who are you? Why are you attacking our guild? The president of the Dark Guild asked angrily. You are the Dark Guild, and my mission is to destroy the Dark Guild. Shinwei took out the task list and waved it in front of the Dark Guild president. At this time, people crawled out from the ruins one after another, glaring at Shinwei. The young man in front of him destroyed the guild he had worked so hard to build with just one blow. He was probably no match for him. As long as he was still alive, he could find a place to build a new Dark Guild. Hey, do you want to fight or not? If you don't, I will do it. Shinwei asked impatiently. The Dark Guild president was furious when he saw Shinwei's impatient expression, but he was no match for him and could only give in. Shinwei saw no response from the other party, so he gave up the idea of continuing the communication. He looked at the 2 or 3 dusty cats and kittens in the field, activated Firefly Fire Daruma, and the green spots of light in the field exploded one after another, taking away the few remaining people of the Dark Guild. Kamui was not in a hurry to go back to complete the mission, but instead stopped and walked along the way to appreciate the delicacies of the fairy tale world. Back in Magnolia, Entering the fairy tale guild, Kamui was enjoying a meal with a skewer of barbecue in one hand. Is the president here? Shinwei asked the people in the lobby. Hey, Kamui is back, did the mission go well? Natsu asked with full energy. The mission has been completed. Shinwei took out the task list and raised it and said. Already completed? Even an ordinary S-class wizard cannot complete the task alone, but you have completed it. President Makarov, who appeared out of nowhere, asked in surprise. Well, it's done, no one escaped. Shinwei said confidently. President Makarov's mouth twitched, but he said nothing more. He began to re-evaluate Kamui's strength in his mind. Asshole, I finally found you. Myra said viciously when she saw Shinwei. Shinwei was also a little worried when he saw the angry little girl. Fight her, she didn't provoke him. Swear, she didn't provoke him. Run, well, if you can't provoke me, can't you hide from me? The Flying Thunder God array was activated instantly, and Shinwei disappeared from the spot, leaving Myra, who was still angry, to explode on the spot. Shinwei did not sneak into the library this time, but observed the small town of Magnolia. The town was very lively, with a constant stream of traffic. The people in the town were very enthusiastic. Although everyone was busy, they would greet each other with a smile on their faces. Shinwei sighed that it was indeed the best novice village for time travelers. Kamui thought Myra should not be there, so he returned to the guild. When he entered the guild, he did not find Myra. Kamui breathed a sigh of relief, went up to the second floor, found a task to collect intelligence, and said goodbye to President Makarov. President Makarov looked at the task list in Kamui's hand and refused sternly, not agreeing to let Kamui carry out this mission. President, it would be perfect for me to carry out this mission. If I really encounter danger, I can use the Flying Thunder God formation to escape instantly. Shinwei explained. President Makarov was silent for a while. In his heart, he didn't want Shinwei to carry out such a dangerous mission, but Shinwei's words made sense. He was indeed the most suitable person. After a long time, President Makarov sighed and said seriously, pay attention to safety. The situation is not good. Give up the mission immediately. Yes, President. Shinwei replied. Kamui left a Flying Thunder God Kunao on a mission list in the guild hall, and went to carry out the mission of collecting intelligence. The mission list stated that it was to collect information about Acknowledger. Acknowledger is the strongest boss in the fairy tale world. He is the dragon slayer from 400 years ago and the only dragon slayer who has completely transformed into a dragon. He beat the giant dragon to the brink of extinction 400 years ago. He hates dragons and humans and is called the Dragon King, the Black Feather of the End, and the origin of evil. Kamui wanted to test how strong he was now. In the world of Naruto, even Madara and the Great Pillar Susanoo might not be able to defeat him 100%. The opponent, Acknowledger, is powerful and has only the desire to destroy. He will attack his companions in the future. Although they have not been together for a long time, Kamui treats his companions in the guild as family members, including the passionate boy Natsu, the runaway witch Myra, the rebellious youth Laxus, the exhibitionist Gray, the night girl Urza, the drinking jar Kana. If it weren't for the protection of the first president Mavis, Acknowledger would have taken them all away in one wave. Shinwei would never allow anyone to hurt his family, so Shinwei planned to kill him in advance. The world of fairy tale is very large, divided into two continents, east and west, separated by a sea. The fairy tale guild is located in Ishgar on the east continent, and the west continent is ruled by the Albereth Empire of the Dark Mage Ziref. It is not easy to find a dragon in such a vast world. Shinwei can only wander around and try his luck. Sometimes fate is so wonderful that Kamui found Acknowledger in a barren mountain in Ishgar. The roar of the fire dragon. Kamui used the dragon-slaying magic to attract Acknowledger's attention. The dragon-slaying magic with the characteristics of Amaterasu made Acknowledger feel the long-lost pain. Acknowledger decided to tear the little thing in front of him into pieces. Chapter 13. Kamui successfully attracted the attention of Acknowledger. Kamui no longer hid his strength and opened the infinite Mangeki Sharingan, and the red Susanoo emerged. Kamui increased his pupil power, and the third form of Susanoo evolved into a complete form. Originally, the complete form of Susanoo was the image of the Tengu in Japanese legend, but the powerful Susanoo was the image of a military commander in Chinese history. The wings behind it were gone, but it did not affect the flying function. The sword hanging from the waist could condense into a Fang Tian Huaji, and could also condense into a longbow. Shinwei was a little puzzled. How did the Sharingan in Japanese comics and the Infinity Stones in American comics become Chinese comics after being combined? Shinwei did not dwell on this issue too much. The current image is very consistent with Shinwei's aesthetics. Kamui raised the fanged Yenhuaji in his hand and slashed at Acknowledge. The halberd blade burning with Amaterasu was blocked by Acknowledge's dragon claws. Acknowledge roared like a black dragon at Susanoo, and Kamui used the Flying Thunder God formation to not only avoid the roar, but also went around behind Acknowledge. Kamui activated his eye technique, and a vortex of time and space appeared above Acknowledge's head, about to twist its head off. Acknowledge flapped its wings to avoid its head, but a large piece of flesh and blood was twisted off its wings by the vortex of time and space created by Kamui's eye technique. Acknowledge howled in pain and tore at Kamui with one claw. Kamui blocked it with his fanged Yenhuaji. The huge force from the fanged Yenhuaji sent Kamui flying. The damage to Acknowledge's wings did not affect Acknowledge's flight. Kamui flew after him. Kamui knew that he was no match for Acknowledge in terms of strength, so he decisively used the Flying Thunder God formation to attack Acknowledge, not seeking to kill the enemy with one blow, but to hit the enemy with every move. Acknowledge was extremely annoyed. Kamui was circling around him like a fly, causing him a little damage every time. He was obviously much stronger than him, but he just couldn't hit him. What kind of weird ability did he have? If he hadn't sensed the danger, he would have been dead. Acknowledge roared, determined to give him a hard blow even if he was seriously injured. The Kamui Flying Thunder God formation flashed and swung a halberd at Acknowledge. Acknowledge ignored the Kamui's attack, grabbed the halberd of the Kamui fanged Yenhuaji with its dragon claws, and pulled the Kamui into his arms. The huge force made the Kamui Susanoo move forward involuntarily. Acknowledge hugged Susanoo and kept biting it. After breaking Susanoo's defense, the black dragon roared. A huge amount of energy poured onto Susanoo, and Susanoo was instantly submerged. The energy dissipated, Susanoo was shattered, and Kamui disappeared. In the past 400 years, Acknowledge has never been so embarrassed as today. That ant did please me, and I had a lot of fun. However, ants are just ants after all, and I still destroyed them. Acknowledge's huge dragon face showed an evil smile. Acknowledge would not admit that Kamui had threatened his life, and he was afraid that Kamui would grow up, so he destroyed him. Big guy, what are you looking at? Kamui interrupted Acknowledge's thoughts. The fiery red Susanoo appeared, with its fanged Yenhuaji pointing diagonally towards the earth, standing there intact. A fear that he hadn't felt for 400 years arose in Acknowledge's heart. Even he himself could not have remained unscathed from an attack like that just now. How did this human in front of him do it? In fact, this problem is very simple. Kamui felt something was wrong when Acknowledge hugged him. The difference in strength made Kamui give up the idea of breaking free. He would definitely not be able to win in a head-on fight, so he decided to hide and survive. He activated the eye technique Kamui and hid in the Kamui space to avoid the roar of Acknowledge's black dragon. Kamui actually thought about using Tsukuyomi to attack Acknowledge, but gave up after thinking about it. In the original work, Acknowledge was split into two personalities, the human personality and the dragon personality. Harano Sakura of Team 7 in Naruto has a dual personality, which gives her a good talent for illusions and also a good immunity to illusions. This indirectly proves that the dual personality has a high immunity to illusions. Facing an enemy like Acknowledge, Kamui did not dare to gamble on that possibility and simply did not use it. Kota Amatsukami was reserved for Black Zetsu and must not be touched. Right now, the only two eye techniques Kamui can use to harm Acknowledge are Kamui and Amaterasu. Fortunately, Acknowledge did not obtain the magic of time and space in the time rift, otherwise Kamui would have to run away, and run through the worlds. The Kamui Susanoo condensed a Kamui Shuriken in his hand and activated the Flying Thunder God formation, and with the dynamic vision of the Sharingan, he could strike and leave without any delay. Occasionally, he threw a Kamui Shuriken to open a space-time vortex on Acknowledge's body. Acknowledge could only dodge, but he could never dodge in time, and the space-time vortex would twist off a large piece of flesh and blood. The Kamui implemented this tactic and ground away a large amount of flesh and blood from Acknowledge's body, and in some places the bones were already visible. Looking at Acknowledge again, one of its legs was gone, and the other leg was full of pits, but its body was relatively intact. Its left hand was broken at the shoulder, and only a skeleton was left of its right hand. Its wings were tattered, but Acknowledge was not at the point of dying. There was anger in its huge dragon eyes, and it stared at Kamui, but unfortunately it was of no use. There are 50 great ways, 49 great ways, there is always a glimmer of hope. In the distance, Myra brought Listener and Elfman into the battlefield. Kamui's Kagura's mind-eye sensed it, and Acknowledge also felt it. Kamui's attack could not help but speed up, trying to quickly kill Acknowledge. Acknowledge sensed Kamui's urgency and knew that the person coming must be very important to Kamui, so he flew towards Myra and the others regardless of everything. Myra takes Listener and Elfman to carry out the mission of defeating the Beast King. The Beast King is very suitable for receiving magic. Myra wants to complete the mission and give the Beast King's soul to her brother Elfman. In the original work, Myra was defeated by the Beast King in this mission. Elfman forcibly used the receiving magic, but he could not control it and fell into a rampage, attacking Listener. He thought he killed Listener, in fact, she was sucked into Edras, which made the two feel deeply guilty. This time they were also on a mission to defeat the Beast King, but after discovering the battle, Listener suggested waiting until the battle was over before carrying out the mission to defeat the Beast King. When Elfman was young, he had no opinion and always listened to Myra or Listener. Myra went against the crowd and bravely brought Listener and Elfman to find out what was going on. Chapter 14. Kamui tried its best to stop Acknowledge, but it couldn't stop the fearless Acknowledge. A mere distance of 10 kilometers was just a blink of an eye for Acknowledge in his prime. Even if his wings were beaten to pieces by Kamui, 10 kilometers was just a few more blinks of an eye for Acknowledge. Kamui attacked Acknowledge crazily, but it was impossible to kill him within 10 kilometers. Kamui had to use the Flying Thunder God formation to get ahead of Acknowledge and protect Myra and the others. Myra, Listener, and Elfman were about to take a closer look at the two sides of the battle, but they suddenly came towards them. Acknowledge's violent magic frightened Myra and the other two so much that they stood still. A fiery red giant suddenly appeared in front of them, and then a giant dragon opened its mouth and spewed out a destructive breath, which was blocked by the fiery red giant. Myra regretted not listening to Listener's advice. If she hadn't insisted on coming to take a look, she wouldn't have put her brothers and sisters in danger. "Are you all right?" Shinwei asked. When Myra heard this voice, she immediately remembered that this voice belonged to the bastard who ran away when he saw her. Just when she was about to scold him, she realized that something was wrong around her. She and her brother and sister were wrapped in a fiery red giant, and there was a giant dragon outside staring at them. Myra was about to ask Kamui what was going on. "It's okay, just stand firm," Shinwei said. Kamui led Myra and the other two to use the Flying Thunder God formation in conjunction with Kamui Shuriken to continue attacking Acknowledge. After only 2 uses, Myra and the other two vomited uncontrollably. The Flying Thunder God formation is a space-time ninjutsu that flashes within the perception range. Using it quickly and continuously will make people who have not been exposed to space-time ninjutsu feel nauseous and vomit, or even die. Just now, Kamui used the Flying Thunder God formation to quickly and continuously transform space, which made Myra and the other two feel very uncomfortable and vomited. Kamui was not sure whether they would die because of this, so Kamui had to give up the Flying Thunder God formation and fight Acknowledge head-on. Acknowledge found that Kamui finally stopped using that dodging attack method, and he used his bare hands to tear at Kamui. Kamui raised his Fang Tianhuaji to block, and the huge force made Kamui feel uncomfortable. Myra and the other two almost fainted. If it happened a few more times, Myra and the other two would probably be killed by Acknowledge's huge power. Kamui used Amaterasu, which burned on Acknowledge's body, but it had little effect. Kamui used Tsukuyomi, which pulled Acknowledge into the Tsukuyomi space. A human-shaped Acknowledge was tied to a cross in the space. The torture in the Tsukuyomi space lasted for 3 consecutive days, but it was only 1 second in the outside world. After experiencing Tsukuyomi, Acknowledge was a little depressed. Kamui used Kota Amatsukami. For the sake of his companions' lives, Kamui no longer left Kota Amatsukami to Black Zetsu. Kota Amatsukami was activated and forced to modify Acknowledge's will. Acknowledge's consciousness kept resisting, and his body was motionless. Kamui took this opportunity to use the pupil technique Kamui to twist off Acknowledge's head, and then used Amaterasu to burn Acknowledge's body into ashes. Kamui's mission was completed. As for the mission to explore Acknowledge's intelligence, Kamui directly threw Acknowledge's head lying in Kamui's space to you. The dragon was gone, so what was there to investigate? The Kamui Susanoo slowly dissipated, and after Myra and the other two landed on the ground, they vomited again. Kamui looked at the three people in pain and could not leave them alone, so he could only act with them. Myra, who had recovered, looked at the Kamui carefully. What had just happened was too terrible. The breath of Acknowledge that destroyed the world, the vortex of space and time of the Kamui, these had a huge impact on Myra's worldview. Aren't all wizards human? Even Makarov, the president of the 10 Holy Wizards, was just a person with a little more magic power. This guy in front of him actually fought back and forth with a legendary creature like a dragon, and successfully killed the dragon. This guy is so strong, how could he? Are you okay? Shinwei interrupted Myra as he saw her increasingly strange look in his eyes. It's okay. X3. Why are you here? Shinwei asked. We were on a mission to defeat the Beast King. There were traces of the Beast King in this area, so we came here and found a battle going on. I wanted to see who were the two sides in the battle, so. Listener told the whole story, and at the end she couldn't continue. Do you know how dangerous it is today? If you intervene in other people's fights without permission, you may be attacked by both sides at the same time. Shinwei reprimanded sternly. Listener and Elfman were in tears after hearing what Kamui said. Myra turned her head away and did not refute Kamui. Seeing that the three of them seemed to know they were wrong, Kamui decided to stop while he was ahead and turned to inquire about the mission to defeat the Beast King. The four Kamuis came to a nearby town, found a hotel and rested for a night. They got up the next morning, had breakfast, and set out to carry out the mission of defeating the Beast King. With the perception of Kagura's mind's eye, the four Kamuis quickly found the Beast King. With the Kamui there, the Beast King was easily defeated. When Elfman used the receiving magic, he still fell into a state of rampage and loss of control like in the original work. Under the powerful suppression of Kamui's Tsukuyomi, the soul of the Beast King instantly became obedient. Shinwei and his four companions set out on the road back to the guild. At first, Shinwei proposed to use the Flying Thunder God technique to teleport directly back to the guild, but was unanimously opposed by Myra and the other two. Myra and the other two really didn't want to experience the feeling of nausea and vomiting again, so Shinwei had no choice but to give up and followed Myra and the other two on foot back to the guild. There was no conversation on the way. We finally returned to Magnolia Town that day. Breathing the familiar air of the town, I couldn't wait to meet the people in the guild. Myra and the other two submitted their tasks and received their rewards. Everything went smoothly. Now it was Kamui's turn. Kamui took the task list from the Flying Thunder God Kunao and handed it to President Makarov. He brought President Makarov to the square of Magnolia Town. The people in the guild also went there curiously to evacuate the crowd in the square. Kamui took out the head of Acknowledge in the Kamui space. The huge dragon head instantly attracted people's attention. The remaining magic power on the dragon head also confirmed Acknowledge's terrifying strength when he was alive. President Makarov widened his eyes and couldn't believe that Kamui had completed the task brilliantly. The task had been hanging there for a long time. More than one guild had this task in the task column. Today it was completed by the wizards in the Fairy Tale Guild. President Makarov was very proud and wondered if he could go to the Magic Council to get some benefits. At the very least, he would exempt them from the compensation for damage during the task. Chapter 15. Not to mention that President Makarov was thinking about how to gain benefits from the Magic Council, just say that after Natsu saw the dragon head of Acknowledge, he couldn't wait to ask Kamui about the whereabouts of Ignil. Kamui knew that Ignil was hiding in Natsu's body, but Kamui would not say it, and Kamui could not explain how he knew it. Fortunately, Ignil appeared at this time. Suddenly, a bright red light appeared on Natsu's body, and magic power gushed out into the sky. A giant red dragon appeared in the red light. Ignil, Natsu shouted happily. Although everyone in the guild had seen the dragon head of Acknowledge brought back by Kamui, it was far less visually impactful than a living dragon. Natsu, long time no see. And Natsu's friends, thank you for taking care of Natsu during this period. Ignil said politely. Everyone in the guild was a little overwhelmed, and President Makarov expressed his opinion that since Natsu joined the guild, he was a family member. Natsu, I know you have a lot of questions, and I will tell you everything now. Ignil said kindly. 400 years ago, the dragon clan that ruled the world was divided into two factions, the coexistence faction that wanted to coexist peacefully with humans, and the opposition faction that opposed peaceful coexistence with humans. In order to defeat the opposition faction, the coexistence faction that wanted to coexist peacefully with humans taught humans magic to fight against dragons. This is the origin of dragon-slaying magic and dragon-slaying wizards. Ignil's gaze seemed to travel through time and return to that era. When everyone in the guild heard Ignil's inspiring narration, they seemed to have returned to that era. At this time, something happened that the coexistence faction had never expected. The humans who mastered dragon-slaying magic were immersed in the powerful force of dragon-slaying magic and wiped out both the coexistence faction and the opposition. This war became a war between humans and dragons, and the flames of war spread to humans and the entire dragon clan. There was sadness and a bit of desolation in Ignil's eyes. "Ignil, what's going on with this achnogenia?" Natsu asked impatiently. "It's Acnologia, Natsu," Ignil corrected. Acnologia was a human. He killed a large number of dragons in that war. His body was bathed in dragon blood, scales grew on his skin, his teeth turned into fangs, and he transformed into a dragon. Acnologia became the Dragon King, and that war was also called the Dragon King Festival. After the Dragon King Festival, Acnologia hunted down the remaining dragons and his whereabouts have been unknown since then. Ignil told the story slowly, and then glanced at Kamui. At this time, the guild members woke up from Ignil's story and gathered around Shinwei, each of them sincerely happy for Shinwei. They chatted with Shinwei about the daily life of the guild. President Makarov looked at the dragon head of Acnologia in front of him, trying to imagine how powerful it was when it was alive, and how Kamui destroyed it, but he couldn't imagine it at all. All Natsu could think of was the joy of reuniting with Ignil, and that Acnologia was a bad dragon, and Kamui destroyed the bad dragon. It was that simple. Natsu pestered Ignil and told him what had happened over the years, and Ignil listened quietly. After learning about this history, Laxus clenched his fists, feeling unwilling. He was not as simple-minded as Natsu. He heard from Ignil how powerful Acnologia was, but such a powerful Acnologia was destroyed by Kamui alone. Laxus always claimed to be the strongest wizard in the guild, and naturally did not want Kamui to leave him far behind in strength. Looking at Kamui's back, he vowed to become stronger and surpass Kamui. Myro looked at Shinwei, who was the center of attention, and felt happy for him, but also a little disappointed. "Ignil, are you leaving?" Natsu's loud voice attracted everyone's attention to him. "Yes, dragons have withdrawn from the stage of history. The bustling city is not suitable for me. I have been sleeping in your body and want to feel the fragrance of nature. Goodbye Natsu, goodbye everyone." After saying that, Ignil flapped his wings and flew into the sky. Natsu cried loudly while saying goodbye to Ignil, and said that he would go find Ignil when he grows up. Everyone in the guild comforted Natsu. Even Grey, who usually quarreled with Natsu, comforted Natsu that he would meet Ignil again in the future. With the comfort of everyone in the guild, Natsu became his usual optimistic and cheerful self again. Guildmaster Makarov announced a banquet to celebrate Kamui's annihilation of Acnologia. Everyone responded and prepared the items needed for the banquet. Kamui took out the hamburgers, pizza, and cola he had stored in his personal space to share with everyone. Everyone praised them after tasting them. The banquet reached its climax during Makarov's speech and ended with everyone getting drunk. The banquet lasted until late at night. People in the guild were lying down, tables and chairs were crooked, and garbage was everywhere. Shinwei woke up the next day. Looking at the mess in the guild, he was reminded of yesterday's banquet. As the protagonist of the banquet, Shinwei was naturally the one who received special attention. Shinwei accepted everyone who came. Someone poured a glass of wine for Shinwei and encouraged him to try it. Shinwei drank it all in one gulp and couldn't stop after that. Shinwei drank so much that many guild members fell on the table. Kamui got up to clean up the guild's garbage, and the guild members woke up one after another and helped Kamui clean up. Someone suggested that the banquet be held again, but this suggestion was interrupted by President Makarov who came in. President Makarov rushed to the Magic Council from the guild early, and told the Magic Council about Kamui's elimination of Acnologia, and took out Acnologia's dragon head. Finally, the Magic Council announced that Uchiha Kamui was promoted to the S-class wizard of Fairy Tail and was qualified to be selected as the 10 Holy Wizards. After President Makarov returned to the guild, he announced the news immediately. Everyone was jubilant again and the banquet began again. Shinwei, who was familiar with everyone, raised his glass again and again, pushing the atmosphere of the banquet to a climax. After the banquet, Shinwei got drunk and fell asleep on the table. He did not wake up until the next day. The news of the Magic Council was officially announced, and all the guilds remembered the name Uchiha Kamui, lamenting that Fairy Tail always has amazing things to do. The Albereth Empire far away in the western continent also received the news. Their first reaction was that it was impossible. No one knew how powerful Acknowledge was better than them, or no one knew how powerful Acknowledge was better than their king, the Dark Mage Zeref. But the facts were before them and they could not help but believe it. The name Uchiha Kamui was also firmly remembered by them. Chapter 16. Kamui followed President Makarov to the Magic Council to accept the evaluation of the 10 Holy Mages. Because one of the 10 Holy Mages was expelled, this evaluation was held. Guild President Makarov brought Kamui into the meeting room of the Magic Council, where the presidents of various guilds were already waiting with their S-class wizards. President Makarov ran off to chat with the other presidents. Kamui looked around and saw no familiar faces, so he sat on a chair with his eyes closed, bored. Are all the staff members who will participate in the evaluation of the 10 holy magicians present? Said a member of the Magic Council. The presidents of each family answered one after another. S-class wizards participating in the competition, please follow me. Said a staff member of the Magic Council. The staff of the Magic Council took Shinwei and other S-class wizards who participated in the evaluation out of the conference room and came to the auditorium of the Magic Council, where an old man in the middle of the auditorium had been waiting for a long time. Hello everyone, I am the speaker of the Magic Council, responsible for the evaluation of the 10 holy wizards this time. The box in front of me contains the tasks you are going to complete. Each person will decide what task to perform by drawing lots. The drawn task cannot be exchanged or told to others, and must be completed alone. The deadline for the task is 1 month. After completing the task, return to the Magic Council. Those who have not completed the task after 1 month will be eliminated, and those who complete the task but do not return to the Magic Council within the specified time will be eliminated. Those who complete the task within the specified time will be given the final result by the people of the Magic Council based on the completion of their respective tasks. Let's start the drawing of lots. The speaker of the Magic Council introduced the method of this evaluation concisely and clearly. What Shinwei most hopes to draw is the mission to destroy the Dark Guild. Shinwei just wants to save trouble. With Shinwei's strength, no Dark Guild can stop him. It was Shinwei's turn to draw lots. Shinwei reached out and pulled out a task to rescue hostages from the box. Although it was not the most ideal task to eliminate the Dark Guild, it was not too troublesome. The youngest daughter of the Heartfilia family, Lucy Heartfilia, has been kidnapped. The kidnapper demands 50 million J. Please rescue Lucy Heartfilia. A photo of Lucy Heartfilia is also attached to the mission. The reward for the mission was not written on the mission sheet, and it was probably left by the Magic Council. Wasn't Lucy Heartfilia the celestial mage at the beginning of the story? Was she kidnapped? However, judging from the fact that Lucy Heartfilia joined Fairy Tail at the beginning of the original story, it is very likely that this happened. It was because the kidnappers of Fairy Tail saved her that she wanted to join Fairy Tail. Kamui left the Magic Council and headed for the Heartfilia family. On the way, Kamui found out where the Heartfilia family was and used the Flying Thunder God formation to speed up. Kamui finally found the Heartfilia family and was stunned by the grandeur in front of him. The Heartfilia family's courtyard was probably half the size of the town of Magnolia. Kamui went to visit the head of the Heartfilia family, Jude Heartfilia, who is also Lucy Heartfilia's father. In the original book, Jude Heartfilia would do anything for money, and he didn't act like a father until his own consortium was acquired. Kamui didn't think he could talk to such a person. Jude Heartfilia was very dissatisfied when she saw that the person who came to rescue her daughter was so young, and said she wanted to change people. Kamui persuaded Jude Heartfilia to change people. The contempt in his eyes was not concealed, but Kamui endured it and pretended not to see it. He simply asked about the whole story of Lucy Heartfilia's kidnapping, and got up and said goodbye in a hurry. Even so, the bossy tone in Jude Heartfilia's words made Kamui sick. Kamui secretly told himself not to be angry, and everything should be based on the evaluation. Kamui came out of the Heartfilia family, took a deep breath and exhaled slowly to calm himself down. In the Naruto world in peacetime, even the daimyo would not dare to speak to the Hokage like this. You should be glad that you are not in the Naruto world, otherwise you would be dead, and even Amaterasu could not stop you, I said. Shinwei did not get any valuable information from Jude Heartfilia. How could a person who had been indifferent to his daughter for the past 20 years know her daily situation? Shinwei did not want to wait foolishly for the other party's kidnapping letter, so Shenwei wandered around the surrounding grey industries to see if he could come across any useful information. Shenwei found a strange man in a casino. He was generous and always won a lot of money. Shenwei became interested in this man and found that he secretly used magic to cheat. There was no wizard guild in the nearby towns. Where did he come from? Why did he come here? What was his purpose? Shenwei waited until the man exchanged his chips and left the casino before following him. The man walked on the street without any hesitation, with several gamblers behind him who were jealous of his gambling money. The man turned and walked into the alley, and those gamblers also walked into the alley, surrounded the man and threatened him to hand over the gambling money. The man calmly put the box with the gambling money on the ground, stretched his muscles, and used powerful wind magic to instantly cut the gamblers into pieces. I've been following you all the way. Show up now. We can solve it together. The man said loudly. Kamui didn't expect that he would be discovered. He couldn't help but sigh at the comfort of the fairy tale world, which made Kamui relax. Just as he was about to show up, he didn't expect someone to be one step ahead of him. Kamui continued to hide in the dark and observe. The person who appeared was just an ordinary person, so even if Kamui's Kagura's mind-eye sensed it, he didn't care. You are IRA from the Dark Guild, right? Do you still remember the town of Lhasa that you massacred? Said the man who appeared. The town of Lhasa? I can't remember it at all. Are you here to seek revenge on me? IRA from the Dark Guild said contemptuously. Bastard! The man who appeared was angered by Isla, took out a dagger from his arms and rushed forward. Isla's wind magic was activated instantly, and the man was about to turn into corpse pieces. The powerful flying thunder god formation saved the man at the critical moment. IRA couldn't believe it. His wind magic, which was a sure hit, missed. Wind magic had the fastest attack speed among all magics. The man rescued the person without any harm, but he didn't know where he came from. IRA saw the fairy tale logo on the other party's arm. IRA broke out in a cold sweat, wondering if the location of the guild was exposed and attracted the wizards of the big guild. IRA had seen that the other party could easily avoid his wind magic, and knew that he was no match for him. He didn't dare to stay for long. Just when he wanted to escape, Kamui's two scarlet Sharingans were staring at him closely. Do you know where the youngest daughter of the Heartfilia family is? Kamui asked without a trace of emotion. Chapter 17. Do you know where the youngest daughter of the Heartfilia family is? Kamui asked without a trace of emotion. Ira's face was covered in cold sweat. Of course he knew where the little girl of the Heartfilia family was, because it was kidnapped by people from their guild. The funds of the Dark Guild have always been tight, and the missions they received were all assassinations. If the guild wanted to develop, it would inevitably have to use some unconventional means. I don't know. IRA said calmly. When Kamui saw that he couldn't get anything out of IRA, he started Tsukuyomi on her. In the Tsukuyomi space, IRA was tied to a cross. Kamui asked again, but IRA refused to say anything, so the Tsukuyomi began. Kamui did not look at Isla, who was lying on the ground in a depressed state. In the Tsukuyomi space, Kamui learned from Isla that Lucy Heartfilia was in Isla's Dark Guild, and also knew the exact location of this Dark Guild. Before leaving, Kamui gave the option of dealing with Isla to the person who wanted revenge. The person who wanted revenge ended Isla's life cleanly and neatly, and burst into tears after doing so. Kamui found Ira's Dark Guild effortlessly. Looking at the three-story building in front of him, if IRA hadn't heard it, who would know that this was a Dark Guild? For such a guild, even if there were 10 more, Kamui would not take it seriously, but this time the mission was to rescue the hostage Lucy Heartfilia, so Kamui had to be careful. Kagura's mind sensed that there were 17 people inside the Dark Guild, which also corresponded to the information from IRA. Lucy Heartfilia was in an iron cage on the 3rd floor of this Dark Guild. There were 3 people around her, and the others were downstairs. It was almost impossible to rescue Lucy Heartfilia without alerting anyone. Once Kamui was discovered, Lucy Heartfilia would be pulled out as a shield, and Kamui's rescue would be in vain. Next time, they would encounter more stringent defenses, or even be killed directly. Kamui could only ask for help from the mall. Open the mall and find the drug. Sad and cool breeze, from demigods and semi-devils, can be exchanged. 10 fragrance softening powder, from Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, can be exchanged. Ether, modern chemistry, can be exchanged. Shenwei exchanges for Baisu Qingfeng, and there are 2 more bottles in his hand, one white bottle is by Su Feng, and the other black bottle is the antidote. Shenwei walked to the upwind side, opened the white bottle of sad and refreshing breeze, and sensed the people in the dark guild. The 7 people on the first floor had already collapsed on the ground, and the 6 people on the second floor noticed that they were not downstairs, and just when they were about to go downstairs to check, they also collapsed on the ground. Among the 3 people guarding Lucy Hartfilia on the 3rd floor, the president of this dark guild noticed something strange downstairs and sent someone with him to go downstairs to check. As soon as that person came downstairs, he smelled a fragrance and came to the 2nd floor, where he found that everyone on the 2nd floor had collapsed on the ground. Just when he was about to step forward to scold them, he felt dizzy and collapsed on the ground as well. The president of the Dark Guild waited for a long time upstairs, but the man did not come back. He thought to himself that he could not even handle such a small matter, so he sent another person around him to see what was going on. With the perception of Kagura's mind's eye, Kamui knew every move of the entire Dark Guild. When the Dark Guild president sent out the first person, Kamui put Shirobe's sad breeze into his personal space. When the Dark Guild president sent out the second person, Kamui swaggered into the Dark Guild. Kamui came to the 2nd floor and met the second person's eyes. The second person just wanted to inform the president and fell to the ground. Kamui walked up to the 3rd floor slowly, activated Tsukuyomi to instantly subdue the Dark Guild president, walked to Lucy Hartfilia, and checked around to see if there were any backup plans left by the Dark Guild president. Kamui actually found one. As long as he forced the iron cage open, the magic bomb at the bottom of the cage would explode and kill the hostages. Kamui activated the infinite Mangeki Sharingan's return to void to make the iron cage disappear. Lucy Hartfilia found that the iron cage that held her was gone, and when she saw Kamui's eyes, she praised him, "Brother, you have beautiful eyes." Kamui nodded and reached out to pull Lucy Hartfilia up. Lucy Hartfilia was a little timid after being kidnapped, and she looked at everything around her carefully. "My name is Uchiha Kamui, what's your name?" Kamui said gently. "My name is Lucy, Lucy Hartfilia." Lucy Hartfilia said timidly. "Then I'll call you Lucy." "Lucy, Big Brother will perform a magic trick for you, okay?" Shinwei said gently. When Lucy heard about the magic show, she smiled. When Shinwei saw this, he secretly thought that psychological counseling for the hostages had begun. Kamui showed his hands in front of Lucy, indicating that he had nothing in his hands. He flipped his palms and a hamburger appeared in his hands. Kamui took a bite and took out a hamburger with his other hand and handed it to Lucy. Lucy kept staring at Shinwei's hand, not noticing how the burger came from. She took the burger from Shinwei and took a bite like Shinwei. It was delicious. During the days when Lucy was kidnapped, it was good to have food every day. Sometimes she didn't have food for the whole day. Lucy ate the burger quickly. Shinwei handed her a cup of Coke, and Lucy drank it all in one breath. Her eyes also regained their former brilliance. Shinwei raised his hand and secretly activated Firefly Fire Daruma. Green light emerged from Shinwei's hand and spread throughout the entire Dark Guild. Lucy discovered that Kamui could turn into a firefly in his hand. Lucy was very excited. Lucy chased the green light and ran and jumped in the Dark Guild, completely forgetting that this was the kidnappers' base camp. The psychological counseling work went smoothly. After playing tired, Lucy and Kamui left the guild together. When they were going downstairs and passing by the members of the Dark Guild, Lucy followed Kamui closely, clutching the corner of Kamui's clothes in her hands. Kamui felt that Lucy was still a little scared. Kamui stood 10 meters away from the Dark Guild and said to Lucy, "Big Brother will perform another magic trick for you. First, close your eyes and then plug your ears." Lucy did as she was told. The Kamui detonated the Firefly Fire Daruma that filled the Dark Guild, and the explosion instantly turned the Dark Guild into ruins. The Amaterasu was activated, burning the ruins completely, and only then did Lucy open her eyes. Lucy opened her eyes and found that the bad guys and their nest were gone. She looked at Shinwei curiously and asked, "Big Brother, did you make them disappear? How about it? Do you like this magic?" Shinwei said gently. "I like it." Lucy said happily. Shinwei's psychological counseling work has been completed. Kamui sent Lucy back home. Jude Hartfilia was very grateful to Kamui for saving Lucy and saving the ransom money. Although Kamui wanted to beat him to death, she gave up the idea considering that this was not the world of Naruto. After getting the certificate of mission completion, Kamui stood up and said goodbye. Although Lucy was reluctant to let him go, she did not cry. She just secretly memorized the fairy tale emblem on Kamui's arm and decided to join this guild when she grew up. Chapter 18. Kamui left the Heart Philia family, and the Flying Thunder God formation instantly returned to the Magic Council. Shinwei submitted the certificate of completing the task to the Speaker of the Magic Council. The Speaker first congratulated Shinwei on completing the task, then asked Shinwei about several details of the task, and finally told Shinwei that he could return to the guild and wait for the results. Kamui bid farewell to the Speaker and returned to Fairy Tale. President Makarov did not ask how the Magic Council's mission was completed. President Makarov was not worried at all about Kamui's strength. As for other aspects, the most important companion in Fairy Tale is him, not the title of one of the 10 holy magicians. President Makarov did not ask. The task of Shinwei's evaluation of the 10 holy mages cannot be told to others. The attitude of the guild members towards Shinwei did not change because of Shinwei's evaluation of the 10 holy mages. They still get along with each other the same way as before. Kamui chatted and played with everyone in the guild, and secretly found President Makarov at night, saying that he wanted to leave for a while. President Makarov thought about it for a long time, and finally agreed. Kamui left the Flying Thunder God Kunao to President Makarov, and told President Makarov that as long as he damaged the Flying Thunder God Kunao, the Flying Thunder God technique on the Kunao would be attached to the original place, and he would be able to feel it and appear immediately. Finally, Kamui thanked President Makarov for taking care of him during this period, and then sensed the Flying Thunder God Kunao that had been left in the Naruto world, and sensed a little bit of connection. Kamui didn't want to say goodbye to his companions in the guild. He couldn't stand the sadness of parting, so Kamui activated the Flying Thunder God technique and disappeared on the spot. After Kamui disappeared, Myra, who had been hiding in the corner, came out in tears. President Makarov comforted her, "Parting is for a better meeting next time." Myra likes Kamui. Most people in the guild can see it, and President Makarov is no exception. Ever since the Kamui destroyed Acknowledge, Myra seems to have become a different person. She no longer competes with Urza and often sits in a daze alone. As soon as the Kamui comes back, Myra can't take her eyes off Kamui. If it's still not obvious that Myra likes Kamui, then this person is definitely a single-celled organism, such as Natsu. The day after Kamui left, President Makarov announced that Kamui had gone out on a mission. Everyone in the guild made fun of Kamui's leaving without saying goodbye, and said that they would hold a banquet to condemn him when Kamui came back. After Kamui used the Flying Thunder God Jutsu to leave the fairy tale world, he returned to the Naruto world, but his current position is a bit awkward. At that time, Kamui used the Flying Thunder God technique between the bases of the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan, and also left a Kunao with the Flying Thunder God technique there. However, when Kamui returned to the Naruto world, he found himself in the base of the Senju clan. Baimao and Kamui, who were separated from Kamui by a table, stared at each other. During the Warring States period, or perhaps dating back to the time of the Six Paths Old Man's Ninja clan, the clan emblem must be seen in the most conspicuous place in a room, and this is also the case in the Uchiha clan. Senju Tobirama. Kamui called out in a tone that was half doubtful and half affirmative. The white-haired man opposite Shinwei nodded blankly. The current Senju Tobirama is not the second-generation Hokage who has all the forbidden techniques. Although the current Senju Tobirama appears calm, he is a little scared in his heart. The Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were known as the two strongest clans during the Warring States period. This person appeared here without alarming anyone in the Senju clan. He must be very strong. What is his purpose in sneaking into the Senju clan? What are my chances of winning against me? Can I delay until my eldest brother comes to catch him together? Kamui didn't know what was in Senju Tobirama's mind. If he knew, he would definitely sigh. People with good brains have many ideas. Kamui found the Flying Thunder God Kunao that he had left behind on the table, picked it up and put it away, and pinched Senju Tobirama's face mischievously. Senju Tobirama saw Kamui's hand and wanted to dodge, but he couldn't. After several attempts, Senju Tobirama accepted his fate. The other party's actions contained malice, but he didn't want to kill him. Moreover, the other party was strong and he was willing. Well, that's it. Kamui pinched and rubbed Senju Tobirama's face. After being satisfied, he said to Senju Tobirama, "Don't pick up things randomly in the future." As he said that, he took out the Flying Thunder God Kunao and shook it at Senju Tobirama. After that, Kamui activated the Flying Thunder God array and disappeared. Senju Tobirama witnessed Kamui disappear with his own eyes, and became very interested in Kamui's space-time ninjutsu. He devoted himself to studying it and vowed never to pick up things randomly again. When Kamui returned to the Uchiha clan's base, the first thing he did was to find the clan leader Uchiha Tajima and explain why he had been away for so long. However, as soon as he entered the base, he was stopped by the clan members. The reason was that Kamui was not wearing the clothes of the Uchiha clan, but the clothes from the world of fairy tale. "I am Uchiha Kamui," Kamui said as he opened the infinite Mangeki Sharingan. At this time, the clan leader Uchiha Madara came over. He recognized Kamui at a glance. Although he didn't know what was going on with Kamui's strange clothes, he finally found Kamui, and he was still alive. After the Great War between the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan did not find Kamui's body. Many people thought that Kamui was dead, but only Madara and Izuna believed that Kamui was still alive. During the Warring States period, people died every day and people were used to it. Kamui had disappeared for such a long time that people naturally forgot about him. In addition, the comfortable life in the world of fairy tale made the originally taciturn Kamui become cheerful, and coupled with the clothes of the fairy tale world, this is why the Uchiha clan members could not recognize Kamui. "Kamui, where have you been this year?" Madara asked curiously. "1 year? I've been away from the Naruto world for a year," Kamui said in disbelief. Kamui thought that it would take no more than 3 months in the fairy tale world, so how could a year pass in the Naruto world? The time ratios in the two worlds are different? Madara grasped the key point in Kamui's words and asked, "What does it mean to leave the Hokage world?" Kamui introduced to Madara in detail what the Flying Thunder God technique was, and even demonstrated it in front of Madara. He told Madara that through the Flying Thunder God technique, he went to another world, made many friends in that world, and opened the Mangeki Sharingan. Kamui told his experiences half-truthfully, and Madara listened attentively. Madara was not surprised that Kamui opened his Mangeki Sharingan, and he found it hard to believe that he had gone to another world. However, he developed a yearning for the peaceful and tranquil world that Kamui described, and he wanted to see what that world was like with his own eyes. Chapter 19. After Kamui finished telling his story, he asked Madara what happened while he was away. The clan leader Uchiha Tajima died in the battle. Before he died, he appointed me as the next clan leader. The clan leader of the Senju clan, Senju Fusuma, died of his injuries. Hashirama is now the clan leader of the Senju clan. Madara said calmly. Kamui didn't expect so many big things to happen in the year he was away. Before Kamui could recover from these big things, Madara said, Hashirama's brother Senju Itama also awakened the bloodline limit of wood release. Kamui was a little surprised. In the original work, only the Great Pillar awakened wood release. How come Itama also awakened it? However, Kamui was just shocked by the changes in the original work. Of course, if he really met Senju Itama on the battlefield, Kamui could take him down with a combo. The Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan have formed a marriage between Hashirama and the Uzumaki clan's eldest daughter Uzumaki Mito. Madara released another shocking news. After hearing this, Kamui's heart skipped a beat and he told himself that the red-haired girl might not be Uzumaki Mito. However, the more he thought about it, the more confused he became and he wanted to go find the red-haired girl immediately to ask her for clarification. Kamui noticed that Madara was breathing heavily when he spoke, and just when you thought he had finished speaking, he would come up with something else to make you feel uneasy. This time Kamui looked at Madara, waiting for him to continue, but he didn't expect Madara to keep silent. What else? Shinwei asked. No, that's all. Madara replied. Kamui glanced at Madara with a strange look, then turned and left. Kamui's mind was now full of the red-haired girl. After a few flashes of the Flying Thunder God formation, Kamui came to the place where they often met. He released Kagura's mind's perception and waited for a while. When the red-haired girl did not come over, Kamui had a bad premonition that became stronger and stronger. He opened the Flying Thunder God formation again and came to the Uzumaki clan's residence. Stop, who are you? Asked the alert member of the Uzumaki clan. Uchiha Kamui, I'm here to pay you a visit. Kamui left these words and walked straight into the Uzumaki clan. The members of the Uzumaki clan would naturally not allow Kamui to force his way into the Uzumaki clan, and they all stepped forward to stop him. Kamui used physical skills to injure but not kill. There was no enemy in the Uzumaki clan that could match Kamui, and they were all beaten away by Kamui. Kamui opened Kagura's mind's eye to sense the location of the red-haired girl, and followed Kagura's mind's eye's perception to go there. Shinwei's actions alarmed the top leaders of the Uzumaki clan. Shinwei's way of injuring but not killing made them decide to meet Shinwei first, find out his purpose, and then decide how to deal with him. The patriarch of the Uzumaki clan and a group of elders walked towards Shinwei. After seeing Shinwei, they did not expect Shinwei to be so young. Although they were amazed, they did not forget the important matter. Uchiha Kamui, right? I am the patriarch of the Uzumaki clan. What is your purpose in coming to the Uzumaki clan? Asked the patriarch. I'm here to look for someone. Shinwei answered honestly. Looking for someone? The Uzumaki clan is thousands of miles away from your Uchiha clan, how could there be the person you are looking for? The elder of the Uzumaki clan said arbitrarily. What's the name of the person you're looking for? The Uzumaki clan leader asked calmly. I don't know her name, I only know that she is a girl from the Uzumaki clan who possesses the Kagura heart eyes. Kamui described. The clan leader and the elders exchanged a glance, then said to Kamui, the Uzumaki clan doesn't have the person you're looking for, please go back. Kamui saw the eye contact between the Uzumaki clan leaders just now, and his bad premonition came true. Kamui whispered, is her name Uzumaki Mito? The head of the Uzumaki clan saw that Kamui had guessed it, so he stopped hiding it and said, since you have already guessed it, you should also know about the marriage between the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan. You can go now. Does Mito agree to this marriage? Kamui asked. The head of the Uzumaki clan wanted to tell Kamui that Mito agreed to the marriage, but as a father he couldn't say it. Kamui saw clearly the uncertain expression on the Uzumaki clan leader's face and immediately realized that Uzumaki Mito did not agree to this marriage. Since Mito doesn't agree to this marriage, you locked her up. So today I will take Mito away and leave the Uzumaki clan. I'll see who dares to stop me. Kamui said coldly. Arrogant. Someone come and capture him for me, said the great elder on the side. When the members of the Uzumaki clan heard the order from the great elder, they all moved forward to capture Kamui. Seeing that the negotiations had failed, Kamui no longer held back and used the power of the flame fruit and the fire dragon slayer magic to kill and injure countless members of the Uzumaki clan, and then he forced his way to the place where Uzumaki Mito was imprisoned. Uzumaki Mito was trapped in a sealing array set up by the clan leader and elders. Uzumaki Mito tried to break the sealing array, but to no avail. The sealing array only restricted Uzumaki Mito's movements, and did not seal the perception of Kagura's mind. Uzumaki Mito had sensed the coming of Kagura's mind long ago, and was secretly happy. As for Kamui, the Uzumaki clan could only barely resist Kamui, and they were defeated again and again. Seeing that Kamui was about to break into the room where Uzumaki Mito was imprisoned and sealed, the clan leader and elders ordered the clan members to retreat. They attacked together and surrounded Kamui. They each formed a seal and slapped the ground, and the sealing spells formed a circle. The densely packed spells in the circle crawled towards Kamui, trying to forcibly seal Kamui. Kamui had seen the sealing technique before, and knew that once he was entangled by the spell, not only would Mito be unable to be rescued, but he would also be trapped. Kamui opened the infinite Mangeki Sharingan and activated the ability to return to the void, causing the sealing spell to disappear. Kamui took the opportunity to break through the encirclement of the clan leader and elders, entered the house where Mito was imprisoned, and met Mito. Mito was very happy to see Kamui, and said that you shouldn't have come, but everyone knew that he was speaking sarcastically. Kamui activated the return to void technique, and the sealing formation that imprisoned Uzumaki Mito disappeared. After being freed, Uzumaki Mito hugged Kamui tightly. The two knew that now was not the time to reunite, as the Uzumaki clan leaders and elders outside did not agree with the two of them being together. The two hugged each other and then separated, but their fingers were clasped together and did not separate. Kamui opened Susanoo, and a fiery red Susanoo appeared. The house was broken by Susanoo, and the tall Susanoo appeared in front of the Uzumaki clan. Kamui and Mito stood together at the center of Susanoo's eyebrows as Susanoo changed. The patriarch and elders of the Uzumaki clan looked at the fiery red Susanoo in front of them for a long time without saying a word. The members of the Uzumaki clan did not have the slightest desire to resist. I'm taking Mito away. I'll treat her well. You don't have to worry about that. We'll come back to see you later. Goodbye everyone. Shinwei said loudly. After that, the fiery red Susanoo slowly rose into the air and flew into the clouds. The head of the Uzumaki clan sighed as he watched Kamui and Mito fly away, and announced the cancellation of the marriage alliance with the Senju clan. Chapter 20. Kamui took Mito flying high in the sky. Mito left the Uzumaki clan where she had lived for many years. She inevitably felt a little lost and confused about the future. Kamui saw that Mito was in a low mood and proposed to build a castle in the clouds to witness our love. The fiery red Susanoo slowly dissipated, revealing Kamui and Mito, who tried to stand on the cloud by climbing trees and stepping on water. This idea was soon confirmed to be completely feasible. Kamui and Mito divided the work. Kamui was responsible for the castle design and using the ceiling technique to move the clouds over. Mito was responsible for using the ceiling technique to lay the foundation and shape the clouds. The two of them built a large-scale construction on the clouds. Mito threw himself into building the castle and seemed to be in a better mood, which reassured Kamui to continue the work of moving the clouds. Kamui's ceiling technique was mediocre. Every time, Mito had to wait for Kamui to move the clouds before he could proceed to the next step. Mito was disgusted that Kamui moved too few clouds each time. Kamui also wanted to move more, but his strength did not allow it. He had no choice but to shorten the time consumed by the journey. As the flying thunder god formation flashed, the moved clouds accumulated little by little, and Mito also became busy. After the unremitting efforts of the two, the castle was finally built. After the castle was built, the two were filled with joy and satisfaction, and decided to move in immediately to experience the fruits of their labor. It's called a castle, but it's actually just a European-style house. The house is covered with dense spells. Shinwei suggested hiding the spells. Mito also felt that the spells somewhat destroyed the beauty of the castle, so she started to hide them. There were tables and chairs in the house. Shinwei put the food in his personal space on the table and sat on the chairs with Mito to enjoy the food. After Kamui and Mito had eaten and drunk their fill, Kamui planned to take Mito back to the Uchiha clan. Mito suddenly felt reluctant to leave the castle, so Kamui comforted Mito and said, "We will come back to see it later." "Let's give it a name," Mito suggested. "How about calling it the city in the sky?" Shinwei shamelessly plagiarized. Mito was very satisfied with the name Kamui gave. Kamui left the Flying Thunder God ritual on the castle in the sky, activated Susanoo, and took Mito back to the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan spotted a fiery red Susanoo flying towards their base from afar. While everyone was guessing who the person with the Mangeki Sharingan was, the fiery red Susanoo slowly dissipated after landing, revealing Kamui and Uzumaki Mito inside. Madara walked over, looked at the red-haired girl next to Kamui, and asked Kamui curiously, "Who is this?" "Uchiha Madara, my cousin is also the patriarch of the Uchiha clan." Kamui took Mito's hand and introduced her to her. "Uzumaki Mito, my wife." Kamui took Mito's hand and waved it in front of Madara to introduce her to him. "Uzumaki Mito? This name sounds familiar, but I can't quite remember it," Madara said thoughtfully. "The Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan are married," Kamui reminded. "Hashirama and Madara couldn't continue and looked at Kamui in surprise. "She is that Uzumaki Mito." Madara's voice unconsciously rose a lot because of excitement. Kamui nodded, looking at Madara with a smug look on his face, thinking to himself, "Scare the hell out of you, you're gasping. Since the Uzumaki clan has decided to marry the Senju clan, why would they let you take Uzumaki Mito away?" Madara asked puzzledly. "If you don't agree, then fight me. If you rob someone, then run away," Kamui said in a funny way, which made Mito secretly pinch the soft flesh on Kamui's waist. After hearing this, Madara complained to Kamui why he didn't take him with him. Kamui forgot that Madara was a battle maniac and could only say that he would definitely ask him to go with him next time there was a fight. "Shinwei, you're finally back," Izuna said to Shinwei excitedly as soon as he came back from outside. "Izuna, long time no see," Kamui said enthusiastically. "Uchiha Izuna is my cousin, and Uzumaki Mito is my wife." Kamui introduced the two. "Kamui, do you know that the news of your bride kidnapping has spread throughout the ninja world?" Izuna asked in a deep voice. "The Senju clan is now preparing for war and may attack the Uchiha clan at any time in an attempt to take back the clan leader's wife," Izuna said calmly. Kamui and Madara looked indifferent after hearing this, but Uzumaki Mito was a little scared. Kamui pinched Mito's hand and signaled her not to be afraid, as he was there for her. Since the Senju clan wants to fight, then my Uchiha clan will fight to the end. Sister-in-law, don't worry, you are Kamui's wife, which means you are a member of our Uchiha clan. The Senju clan wants to rob the Uchiha clan, but unless all the Uchiha clan members are dead, there is no way. Madara said domineeringly. Kamui, you and Uzumaki Mito just stay in the clan, no one can separate you. Izuna added. No, I caused this trouble, and I will find a way to solve it. Kamui said to Madara and Izuna. Mito, don't worry, stay here, I'll be back soon. Kamui said softly to Mito. Shinwei activated the Flying Thunder God formation and disappeared in a flash. Madara and Izuna hurriedly chased after Kamui, not wanting him to take the risk alone. Mito also chased after him, but was hurriedly stopped by Madara and Izuna and kept in the clan. Let's talk about the Senju clan. After Kamui took Uzumaki Mito away from the Uzumaki clan, the clan leader of the Uzumaki clan sent someone to inform the Senju clan that the marriage was cancelled. After careful inquiries, the Senju clan found out that it was Uchiha Kamui who took Uzumaki Mito away. Before the Great Pillar said anything, the members of the Senju clan expressed their desire to take the clan leader's wife back. The Great Pillar asked the members to calm down and said that he did not agree with the marriage either, but it was just that the former clan leader, Senju Furuma, had already made up his mind and it was difficult to refuse. After much persuasion, the members gave up the idea of taking the clan leader's wife back. After seeing off the Uzumaki clan, the Great Pillar rubbed his brows. Uchiha Kamui, the Great Pillar remembered that he was Madara's cousin. He and himself both hoped to end this era of war. He put forward many constructive suggestions, which were in line with the philosophy of his own ninja village. He learned from Madara that Kamui was missing, and he was lost for a long time. He did not expect that he would suddenly appear now. Perhaps the ideal of establishing our ninja village in the first place can now be realized. The Great Pillar couldn't wait to meet Kamui and ask him if he was still willing to end the war in the ninja world and establish a ninja village. The Great Pillar picked up his pen and wrote a peace document, and ordered someone to send it to the Uchiha clan and give it to the clan leader Uchiha Madara. However, Dazu never expected that this peace document would be snatched away by a ball of black substance on the way before it was delivered to the Uchiha clan. Senju Hashirama, come out and fight me. Kamui said loudly while standing in the fiery red Susanoo. Chapter 21. Senju Hashirama, come out and fight me. Kamui said loudly while standing in the fiery red Susanoo. The Great Pillar heard the noise outside, which interrupted his longing for realizing the ideal of the ninja village. He walked out of the room and saw the fiery red Susanoo. His first reaction was that Madara had received his peace document and was now coming to him to discuss the matter of jointly building a ninja village. However, when the Great Pillar took a closer look, he found that the person in the Susanoo was not Madara, but Kamui. The Senju clan members all stood behind the Great Pillar. There were 4 different opinions among the Senju clan members. Among them, the Great Pillar, Tobirama and Itama had already recognized Kamui, and they had different thoughts in their minds. The rest of the clan members had roughly the same thoughts. What the Great Pillar wants is to end the war in the ninja world and establish a ninja village. Tobirama thought that the Uchiha clan was a naturally evil clan, and he touched his face when he thought of this. Itama was thinking that Kamui was still alive, and that I could definitely defeat him after mastering wood release. The rest of the tribesmen probably thought that the clan leader should teach this arrogant guy a lesson. Shinwei, long time no see. Dazuza said enthusiastically. When the members of the Senju clan heard the name Shinwei, they were instantly furious. They had just learned not long ago that it was Shinwei who had kidnapped the clan leader's wife. Now he actually came to their door in person. It was really too much. The members of the Senju clan clamored to take back the clan leader's wife. Only after Dazuza shouted to stop them did the members of the Senju clan quiet down. Shinwei, is this battle inevitable? Dazuza asked in a deep voice. We must fight. I'll wait for you in the valley downstream of the river. Shinwei said seriously. Shinwei, do you still remember our agreement? Asked Dazuza. Konoha village? Of course I remember, but now is not the time to talk about that. If you want to talk about Konoha village, see you at the old place after the fight. Kamui replied. Watching the fiery red Susanoo flying towards the valley downstream of the river, Hashirama also set off. Tobirama stopped his elder brother and said that Kamui had a kind of ninjutsu that ignored distance and time. Tobirama was still worried about his elder brother's safety and was also worried that this was a trap of the Uchiha clan. He proposed to take the clan members with him, but was strongly opposed by Hashirama. In the end, Hashirama went to fight alone. When Dazuzi arrived at the valley, he saw Kamui already waiting there, so he started fighting without saying anything about the ninja village. Wood release, Tree World Advent. The big pillar immediately transformed the battlefield into a direction that was favorable to him. Amaterasu. Kamui set fire to the tree of the Great Pillar in an instant. Kamui knew that the Great Pillar had the Flower and Tree World Advent and the All-Bag technique, which required the Tree World Advent to change the battlefield environment before they could be used. So Kamui used the Amaterasu's property of burning everything and never extinguishing it, not only defending against the Great Pillar, but also changing the battlefield to his advantage. The Great Pillar found that his Tree World descent did not achieve the expected effect and was burned to ashes by the black flames, so he decisively gave up the fight for the initiative on the battlefield and used Wood Release, Woodman technique to fight hand-to-hand combat with Kamui. The mighty Susanoo swung the Fang Tien Huaji in his hand towards the big pillar, and the wooden man jutsu of the big pillar took it with both hands. The moment his hands touched the Fang Tien Huaji, his hands turned into nothingness. The Fang Tien Huaji moved smoothly all the way and chopped the entire wooden man jutsu into nothingness. Ever since he destroyed Acknowledge last time, Kamui has been trying every means to study how to improve the combat effectiveness of Susanoo. Kamui actually came up with an idea. He attached the return to void ability of his left eye to the Fang Tien Huaji, and then the Fang Tien Huaji could turn anything it touched into nothingness. The big pillar fell from the sky, and when he clasped his hands together, black lines appeared on his face. Senjutsu, Wood Release, Tree World Advent. The Amaterasu flames left on the battlefield were unable to burn down the large tree that the Great Pillar had created with his magic, and could only attach themselves to the tree and slowly devour it. Senjutsu would release all bag techniques. Within the range of the tree world's descent, several giant wood release hands appeared and successfully restrained Susanoo's movements. Susanoo could not move and could not wield the Fang Tien Huaji. Shinwei used his pupil technique Shinwei to attack the giant hand holding the Fang Tien Huaji that bound him. The space-time vortex instantly swallowed the giant hand. Shinwei swung the Fang Tien Huaji and chopped the giant hands into nothingness one by one. However, after the chop, he could feel a noticeable sluggishness and the speed of turning into nothingness was also much slower. Shinwei guessed that this should be due to the fairy chakra. Immortal technique would release true thousands of hands. Dazuzi saw that the fairy chakra could delay the Kamui move, so he used the wood release Great Buddha created by the fairy technique to punch Susanoo. Even if the Fang Tien Huaji could turn anything it touched into nothingness, it was still enough time to cause damage to Susanoo. Become a Buddha on top. The Buddha's hand behind him clenched into a fist and attacked Kamui with overwhelming force. Kamui Susanoo's hand had 5 more Kamui shurikens. Kamui aimed at the most intensively attacked area and threw them. As soon as the Kamui shurikens touched the Buddha's fist, they turned into a vortex of time and space that swallowed up everything around them. Kamui continued to throw Kamui shurikens, and the Great Pilla's attack ended in failure. Dazuzi was panting heavily, thinking to himself that he had tried his best but failed to break the defense of the Kamui Susanoo. Then he looked at the Kamui on the opposite side, who remained calm after such a fierce battle. I lost this battle. I lost. Dazuzi admitted defeat happily. The wrinkles on his face disappeared. He sat down on the ground to recover his consumed strength. The fiery red Susanoo slowly dissipated, revealing the Kamui inside. Kamui walked towards Uhashi and told him how he and Mito became friends. Uhashi listened to Kamui's story quietly. After listening, Uhashi expressed his willingness to help Kamui and Mito get together. Kamui put Uhashi's hand on his shoulder and sent him back to the Senju clan. The Senju clan and the Uchiha clan felt the aftermath of the battle from afar, and members of both clans hoped that their side could win. When the battle was over, members of both clans were sweating, hoping that their people would not be defeated. In the Senju clan, Tobirama and Itama were aware of the eldest brother's strength and did not think that he would lose. After the battle, they thought that the eldest brother had won, but they did not see him coming back for a long time. They were secretly anxious and wanted to go to the battlefield to meet him, but when they thought of his order that no one was allowed to go, they had to give up. "We're back!" shouted the members of the Senju clan. Tobirama and Itama could no longer hold back and rushed out of their base and arrived at the gate of the Senju clan, just in time to see Kamui supporting his eldest brother and walking towards them step by step. Tobirama and Itama looked at each other, their eyes full of disbelief. The eldest brother lost. Chapter 22. Amid the surprised looks of the Senju clan, Kamui handed the big pillar to Tobirama and Itama, and used the Flying Thunder God formation to leave and return to the Uchiha clan. "Oh, they are all here," Shinwei said frivolously. Mito, Madara, and Izuna, who were standing at the gate of the Uchiha clan waiting for news, looked over and saw that Kamui had returned safe and sound. Mito saw Kamui, ran over and hugged him tightly, crying and saying to him, "Don't leave me alone in the future." "Okay, I'll take you wherever I go from now on," Kamui said, patting Mito's back gently. Kamui and Mito hugged each other, and suddenly they felt two light bulbs next to them, staring at them intently, so Kamui and Mito separated. Madara and Izuna looked at Kamui with resentful eyes. Madara was most concerned about who won the battle between Kamui and Hashirama. He didn't expect Kamui to fall in love with Mito as soon as he came back. Madara wanted to avoid it, but his inner curiosity made him stay. Izuna was most concerned about the other world Kamui went to. He wanted to wait for Kamui to come back to find out, but he didn't expect Kamui to fall in love with Mito as soon as he came back and didn't see him at all. Izuna wanted to leave, but found that his brother Madara didn't move, so Izuna didn't leave. Madara and Izuna looked at each other, and the meaning in their eyes was that Kamui valued love over friendship. Madara and Izuna looked at Kamui with more and more resentment. "Do you have anything else to do?" Kamui's words were like stirring up a hornet's nest. The resentment in Madara and Izuna's eyes was immediately replaced by anger. Madara and Izuna smiled, each holding half of Kamui's shoulders. Madara said to Mito, "I'll borrow your Kamui for a minute, and I'll return it to you in a moment." Kamui looked at Madara and Izuna's malicious smiles and shook his head at Mito. Mito blushed when she heard this and nodded, completely ignoring Kamui's hint. Kamui was taken to a deserted place by Madara and Izuna. On the way, Kamui finally figured out why Madara and Izuna were full of anger. The two brothers waited for a long time, and then were fed dog food. In the end, Kamui was disgusted and wanted to send them away. Kamui decided to pretend to be angry. "If you don't mention it, I won't admit my mistakes." After arriving at the place, Kamui looked at Madara and Izuna with an innocent face. Madara was the first to speak. "Who won between you and Hashirama?" "I won." Kamui's answer satisfied Madara's curiosity. "Shinwei, can you take people to the world you mentioned?" Izuna asked curiously. "In theory, it's possible, but it's never been put into practice," Shinwei answered readily. Kamui looked at Madara and Izuna, who were thinking with their heads down, and quietly took a step back. Before he could take the second step, Madara and Izuna each put their arms around Kamui's shoulders, and malicious smiles appeared on their faces again. "Where are you going?" asked Madara. "It's time to settle the accounts between us," Izuna said. Kamui kept admitting his mistakes, but the malicious smiles on Madara and Izuna's faces were still there. Kamui said helplessly, "Don't hit them in the face. You are more concerned with love than friendship. I agreed not to hit you in the face. Do you think we have anything else to do? You don't have martial ethics." A moment later, Madara and Izuna walked out in front, looking refreshed, and Kamui walked out behind with a bruised face. Kamui came back and saw Mito and took Mito home. On the way, Mito was amused by Kamui's new look and laughed. Mito's Kagura hard eye sensed everything that had just happened, and she laughed and scolded Kamui, saying that he deserved it. The next morning, Kamui and Madara went to the river to wait for the Great Pillar to discuss how to achieve peace in the ninja world and create a ninja village. When Kamui and Madara arrived at the river, the Great Pillar was skipping stones alone. The Great Pillar turned around and looked at Kamui and Madara, and asked in confusion where the wound on Kamui's face came from. Kamui of course would not tell the Great Pillar. Madara expressionlessly told Hashirama that Kamui valued women over friends, and that Izuna had taught Kamui a lesson. Hashirama smiled smugly after hearing this. Kamui didn't want to talk about this topic, so he took out two peace documents from his arms, one for each of Madara and Dazuzi. Dazuzi read it carefully and found that it was much better than the one he wrote, and asked Kamui a few key points. Kamui answered them one by one, and Dazuzi signed the peace document happily. Madara believed that Kamui would not cheat him and signed it happily. The Great Pillar said goodbye to Kamui and Madara with the peace documents, and couldn't wait to return to the clan to persuade his members to let go of their hatred and jointly establish a ninja village with the Uchiha clan. "Brother, the Uchiha clan is an inherently evil clan. This is most likely their trap. Tobirama said calmly. Tobirama, you are not allowed to say that. Dazusa said sternly. Brother, can the ninja village really end the war in the ninja world? Itama asked doubtfully. Banjian, this is my lifelong dream. Dazusa said firmly. Brother, I support you. Said Banjian. Itama, you. Tobirama wanted to say something, but he couldn't go on. Okay, I support it too, but if this is a trap set by the Uchiha clan, we must give up the idea of establishing a ninja village together with the Uchiha clan. Tobirama said seriously. Let's not talk about the three brothers of Daibashi who tried to persuade their tribesmen separately for now, and let's talk about Kamui and Madara. Unlike the Great Pillar who couldn't wait to return to the clan, Kamui and Madara were optimistic about persuading the clan members to build a ninja village together with the Senju clan. In the year that Kamui was away, the Uchiha clan lost more than they won in the war with the Senju clan, and the clan members were exhausted physically and mentally. Many captives on the battlefield also surrendered to the Senju clan. At this time, announcing to the clan members that the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan would jointly build a ninja village would not only revitalize the clan, but also allow those who surrendered to reunite as a family. Madara gathered the clansmen in the name of the clan leader and announced that the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan would jointly establish a ninja village, saying that the two clans would live together in the ninja village in the future, and there would be no need to start wars again. Those who surrendered to the Senju clan would be forgiven and could come back to reunite with their families. The Uchiha clan was tired of war, and when they heard the clan leader Madara announce that the two clans would live in peace in the future and could reunite with their families, they all expressed their willingness. Madara also took out the peace agreement with the Senju clan leader Senju Hashirama and gave it to the clan members to read, and the clan members became more confident about jointly establishing a ninja village. Everything went smoothly for the Uchiha clan, while the three brothers of the Senju clan went door to door to persuade the people. As for why they did not follow the Uchiha clan's example and gather together to make the announcement, it was mainly because they were worried that someone would oppose it and cause a chain reaction. A small number of people were opposed to the idea of jointly building a ninja village, and most of the clan members were skeptical at first. They believed that only the Senju clan members were willing to believe their clan leader, and did not believe the Uchiha clan. After the three brothers of the Senju clan persuaded them, the clan members finally agreed to jointly build a ninja village with the Uchiha clan. Just when Madara and the Great Pillar sent people to inform each other that the tribesmen agreed to jointly establish a ninja village, a mass of black substance was planning a conspiracy against the two tribes. Chapter 23. Madara and Ashura received letters from each other, which mentioned that the tribesmen had agreed to jointly establish a ninja village. They agreed to formally form an alliance at the old place 3 days later, under the witness of all the people from both tribes, and to select a site to build the ninja village and announce it to the ninja world. After reading each other's letters, Ban and Dazuzi ordered their tribesmen to pack up and move. The two tribesmen made intensive preparations for the relocation. Madara, Izuna, Kamui, Ohashira, Tobirama, and Itama gathered together to discuss the location of the village. After careful consideration, the 6 people finally chose the original location of Konoha village. Dazuzi was so excited that tears welled up in his eyes, and he said, "I am really grateful that the two tribes can put aside their hatred and unite to build the ninja village." He bowed deeply as he spoke. Tobirama next to him had a dark face and reminded, "Brother, you are the head of the Senju clan, how can you easily bow to the Uchiha clan?" "But I'm really happy," Dazuzi said sincerely. "Hashirama, raise your head. This is not how a leader should behave," Madara said calmly. "It's decided. We'll build a village of our own here. In this village, the children won't have to fight each other. We'll build a school to train them so they can grow up and become stronger. Everyone can choose tasks based on their personal abilities and strengths, and there will be a superior who can reasonably distinguish the levels of tasks. A village where the children don't have to be sent to the front line to risk their lives," Dazuzi said excitedly. "After the village is built, I will protect my brother in this place overlooking the entire forest," Madara said firmly. "It seems like I was the first one to bring up the ninja school and the mission department. How come you ignored Konoha Hospital, the police department, and the Anbu?" Kamui said helplessly. "Sorry, I forgot," Dazuzi said awkwardly. Tobirama discovered the importance of the departments proposed by Kamui and asked Kamui quickly. Kamui introduced each department in detail. After pondering, Tobirama found that the departments proposed by Kamui would be of great help to the construction of the village, so he directly applied them to the construction of the village. The 6 people sat on the ground, looking forward to the future of the village. By the way, it should be called Konoha village now. Kamui proposed the name of Konoha, and there was no objection, so it was decided directly. The overall plan of Konoha village has been drawn up, and the 6 people also ended this meeting and returned to their tribes. 3 days later, the day of the formal alliance between the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan arrived. At the alliance ceremony, Madara and the Great Pillar wore their regular clothes and held hands tightly together. The clan members behind them witnessed this historic moment. Konoha village also officially broke ground, using earth-style ninjutsu to build a high wall. Mito engraved the sealing technique on the wall, forming a barrier that covered the entire village, which not only protected the village but also prevented outsiders from sneaking in. The wood escape techniques of the pillars and boards were always busy from morning till night. If there was a shortage of wood, they would use wood escape techniques to build a big tree. Compared to the Senju clan, where everyone had tasks, the Uchiha clan had a lot less time. Most of the Senju clan members have water and earth chakra attributes, while the Uchiha clan members are born with fire chakra, and some members of the clan have other attributes. This makes them useless in building the Konoha village. However, they are not idle either. They found another way and cleared the big trees within the planned Konoha village, and then made the cleared trees into timber and transported them to where they are needed. The original site of Konoha village was chosen in the forest, and now we need to clear away the big trees from the houses, streets, etc. Nearing the evening, the construction work of Konoha village was finally completed. The Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were clearly separated, located on the east and west sides of Konoha village. The mission department, ninja school, and Konoha hospital were in the middle of Konoha village. The police, the headquarters, is in the middle of Konoha village, but branches are set up in the 4 directions of Konoha village: east, west, north, and south. The establishment of Konoha village filled everyone with hope. That night, a grand banquet was held in the name of celebrating the establishment of Konoha village. At the banquet, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan competed in drinking. The 2 sides went back and forth, with all kinds of tricks. In the end, neither clan could do anything to the other, and the clan members fell drunk on the ground one after another. The next morning, after the people of the 2 tribes woke up, there was no hostility, but they greeted each other sporadically, which invisibly eliminated a lot of the barriers between the 2 tribes. Last night, Kamui was forced to drink by Madara, Daibashi and other 5 people. After all, he was the only one among them who was single. Kamui looked at the 5 people including Madara and Daibashi who were still sleeping beside him, picked up a pen and splashed ink on their faces, expressing himself freely. Seeing this, the members of the 2 tribes followed suit and attacked the sleeping foreigners. The awakened fellow tribesmen not only did not stop them but also showed malicious smiles to the foreigners who were taking action. What's more, the people of the 2 families gathered together to study and discuss the painting methods. At the same time, when people from other families in the Fire Country heard that the 2 strongest families in the ninja world had formed an alliance, they could no longer sit still and sent people to gather intelligence. When the information was passed back, the heads of the various families breathed a sigh of relief, and then thought about whether the ninja village model could really bring peace. Some of the heads of the families, such as the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan, asked Konoha village to join. Daibashi and Madara finally woke up. They looked at each other's graffitied faces and laughed. After laughing, they found that there were graffiti on their faces as well. Madara hurriedly cleaned the graffiti on his face and woke up Izuna to find the culprit Kamui, because Madara knew that apart from Kamui, no one would be so boring. Dazusa picked up a pen and joined the graffiti team, creating secondary works on the faces of Tobirama and Itama. He was stopped by Tobirama who woke up in time, and he also stopped others from graffiti. Afterwards, after investigation, it was confirmed that Uchiha Kamui was the culprit of the graffiti incident and the information was made public. The name Uchiha Kamui was mentioned repeatedly by people, and Kamui became the most popular person in Konoha village. Later, on the first anniversary of the establishment of Konoha village, in the evaluation of the most popular ninja in the village, Kamui was successfully rated as the least popular ninja with a crushing momentum, and topped the list for 10 consecutive years. Right now, Kamui is at home being affectionate with Mito. The defensive barrier of Konoha village is a huge project. Mito is the only one in the village who is proficient in sealing techniques, so Mito has to solve all problems personally. In the future, they will have less and less time to meet, so Kamui must make the most of every minute. Madara took Izuna to find Kamui to demand an explanation. Tobirama taught his elder brother a lesson not to be so childish, and the members of the two tribes returned to their homes. In this way, a new day began in Konoha village. Chapter 24. In Konoha village, the Great Pillar gathered Madara, Kamui, Tobirama, Itama, and Izuna together and said, "How about guarding the leader of the Fire Country ninja in the shadows and naming him Hokage?" "What are you talking about?" Madara asked in confusion. "The Fire Nation requires us to elect a representative for the village. Madara, I would like you to be the village chief and become the Hokage. I hope you can protect everyone like you protect your brothers." Daibashi said sincerely. "Hokage? Big brother, why are you acting on your own? There is indeed nothing wrong with recommending Madara as the candidate for village chief, but the final candidate needs to listen to the public opinion of the Fire Nation and the village, and then communicate with the higher-ups to decide. This is no longer our father's era." Tobirama said objectively. "All I have to do is protect my brother well," Madara said calmly. "There is no time to retreat now, because in addition to the Uchiha and Senju, the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan also want to join us." Obashi said excitedly. "Really? Are you kidding?" Madara asked doubtfully. "In addition to these, there are many other people. This village will become bigger and bigger," Dazuza said with anticipation. "Besides the 6 of us, who else is qualified to be the candidate for Hokage?" Izuna said arrogantly. "Why don't the 6 of us run for election together, and the losers will be responsible for other departments in the village? But let me make it clear first, no matter who is elected or who is defeated, no one can hold a grudge," Shinwei said jokingly. Kamui's proposal was recognized by everyone. The election process is as follows: the election is divided into 2 rounds, both of which are real name voting. The first round of the election lasts for 3 days, and the 2 people with the highest number of votes are selected. The second round of the election lasts for 1 day, and the election conditions are mainly based on public opinion and supplemented by the support of the daimyo. In the end, the person with the highest number of votes will be elected as the Hokage. The news of the Hokage election was announced very quickly, and many more ballot boxes were added to the village. These ballot boxes were managed by dedicated people. The villagers had never seen this way of election before, and now they finally had a chance to be the master of their own house. Of course, they would choose the person they liked most to be Hokage. These 6 people were all powerful men who could stand on their own in the ninja world. They were among the best in the ninja world in terms of strength and prestige. It was really difficult to decide. On the day when voting closed, all the ballot boxes were sent along the village road to the entrance of the task force, and the votes were counted in the presence of all the villagers. Among them, Obashira and Madara had the highest number of votes, Tobirama ranked 3rd, Izuna ranked 4th with a difference of 1 vote, Itama received more than 100 votes and ranked 5th, and Kamui had only 1 vote. Upon hearing this result, Kamui shouted that it was impossible and there must be something wrong. However, the whole process was transparent and open. Kamui could not find any reason to question the fairness of the election. He could only hide in a corner and be selectively autistic. When Obashira and others heard the result, they all provoked Kamui and showed off their votes in front of Kamui. Even Tobirama, who was always serious, mocked Kamui. The first round of voting officially ended under the witness of everyone, and the 2 founders of Konoha village, Daihashi and Madara, entered the next round of voting. Kamui was walking home feeling lost, but when he saw Mito, his loss was gone. The 2 of them were very happy together. Kamui said that after this period of busy work, we will have a grand wedding. Mito looked at Kamui with expectation, and the 2 looked into each other's eyes, and welcomed tomorrow's work. The next morning, after Kamui placed breakfast at the door of Mito's room, he turned around and went out to find Madara at his home. Kamui took out the medical ninjutsu exchanged from the mall from his personal space and handed it to Madara, asking Madara to use it when he ran for the position of Hokage to increase his popularity. Madara was a nobody, and he disdained such unorthodox methods. He wanted to defeat the big pillar in an upright manner. Kamui asked Madara to take it, saying that the families that had recently joined Konoha village were very close to Tobirama, and these families might have been won over. Now the mature medical ninjutsu in your hand is the sword that can disintegrate their alliance. Kamui finally said, "Brother Madara, not having a sword in your hand and having a sword in your hand but not using it are 2 different concepts." Madara listened to Kamui's words and carefully took the medical ninjutsu into his arms. Kamui also told Madara that he hoped Madara could be the witness of his and Mito's marriage. Madara had no reason to refuse and readily agreed. Kamui did not stay in Madara's house for long and stood up to say goodbye. After Kamui left Madara's house, he went to the police department to work. Kamui did not hide his whereabouts during the trip, and the news of his trip to Madara's house soon appeared on Tobirama's desk. Tobirama looked through the information on the desk, thinking about Kamui's purpose, and could not think of any way to turn the tables, so he destroyed the information directly. The second round of voting began. The villagers each cast their precious vote. The Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were both working hard to promote their own candidates. The Great Pillar and Madara were waiting for the results of the election in the newly built Hokage building. Kamui, Izuna, Tobirama, and Itama began to count the votes under mutual supervision. The final result was that Madara led Daihashi with a slight advantage in the public opinion vote, and Daihashi defeated Madara in the support of the daimyo. Although the second round of elections is based on public opinion and supplemented by the support of the daimyo, if anyone really believes it, he can only be said to be too young and naive. Konoha village's financial problems have always been solved by allocating funds from the taxes of the Land of Fire, and the daimyo can influence the amount of funding. Unless Konoha village can achieve financial freedom, it can ignore the opinions of the daimyo. Now Madara and Uebishi are on the same starting line again. Tobirama suggests that the two of them give a campaign speech. Uebishi and Madara both agree with Tobirama's proposal, and they each prepare the content of their speeches. Kamui and Izuna helped Madara improve the content of the speech. Kamui exchanged a large number of speeches from the presidential election of the United States in the previous life from them all. Using these as references and eliminating some unrealistic things, Madara's speech came out. Madara was able to memorize the entire speech effortlessly. Kamui told Madara to act casually when giving the speech, to put a smile on his face, not to make people feel that he was superior, and to be approachable. Finally, he told Madara that the Uchiha clan was willing to open up all their fire-style ninjutsu for people to learn. Madara was a little stunned. He didn't expect Kamui to be so generous. Kamui smiled and explained that the Uchiha clan was famous in the ninja world because of the blood limit of the Sharingan. No matter how strong the Uchiha clan's fire ninjutsu was, it was just an external object. Anyone could learn it with a ninjutsu scroll. Now the ninja school in the village is recruiting students of the right age. The Uchiha clan is willing to offer fire ninjutsu for people to learn, which not only helps those civilian ninjas, but also allows the ninja school to recruit students smoothly. Gaining their support and becoming Hokage is just a matter of course. Chapter 25. Madara took the stage amidst the warm applause of the villagers below. As Kamui said, he behaved casually, smiled, and showed affinity. The whole speech was smooth and smooth. At the end of the speech, Madara said, "In order to build a ninja school and improve the strength of the ninjas in the village, on behalf of the Uchiha clan, I am willing to donate the family's fire escape ninjutsu for free." Madara's words shocked everyone instantly. The ninjutsu collected by the ninja families in the ninja world has always been kept secret. They would rather let these ninjutsu gather dust in the family collection room than let them fall into the hands of outsiders. Everyone present had never expected that someone would be willing to take out their own collection of ninjutsu for everyone to learn. You have to know that the Uchiha clan is a family that has been passed down since the time of the ninja clan. Most of the clan members have fire attribute chakra, and the fire ninjutsu in the clan can be the best in the ninja world in terms of both quantity and quality. Madara ordered the tribe members to bring the tribe's fire ninjutsu to the stage. Palm-sized ninjutsu scrolls were piled up into a small mountain more than one person high. Madara had just said that he was willing to donate the tribe's fire ninjutsu, but seeing these fire ninjutsu with his own eyes was not as shocking as it was. The villagers and some ninjas with fire attribute chakra looked at Madara with fiery eyes, and their support for Madara to become Hokage was evident in their words. On the other hand, the Great Pillar was shocked by Madara's generosity, and soon a smile appeared on his face, saying that he was worthy of being Madara. The Great Pillar's speech also included content about bringing out ninjutsu for everyone to learn, but he used his own ninjutsu as an introduction and called on everyone to bring out their own ninjutsu to build Konoha village together. This proposal was made by Tobirama, who thought it could be used as a trump card, but he did not expect that the two parties' ideas coincided, and were slightly better than his own. Tobirama also thought that the other party would think the same as he did in the next step, calling on everyone to bring out ninjutsu to build Konoha village. Tobirama guessed who was the mastermind behind this proposal? Madara? It's impossible that he doesn't have such a high political awareness. Izuna? He doesn't have the courage to do such a big thing. Finally, his eyes fixed on Kamui. Kamui sensed Tobirama's gaze and nodded at him. Tobirama quickly turned his head and muttered, "The Uchiha clan is a clan that is born evil." Madara took out the medical ninjutsu that Kamui had given him and said loudly, "It is inevitable for ninjas to get injured when performing missions outside. If they cannot receive timely treatment during the mission, it is very likely that their ninja career will end or they may lose their lives." The ninjas of Konoha village looked sad when they heard Madara's words. Their friends or relatives had been killed or injured in missions. Now this problem has been solved. The book in my hand records medical ninjutsu on how to treat the wounded. It can greatly improve the survival rate of ninjas while they are performing their tasks. Severe injuries that could not be treated before can now be cured through medical ninjutsu. Medical ninjutsu can also be learned by everyone. In the future, each ninja team will be equipped with a medical ninja to ensure the safety of the ninjas. There will also be a large number of medical ninjas in Konoha Hospital, using medical ninjutsu to treat the wounded. Madara said passionately. Everyone present was somewhat skeptical about Madara's medical ninjutsu, and some even thought that Madara was just trying to attract attention. The Great Pillar knew that Madara would not do anything without a purpose, and he was very much looking forward to the effect of the medical ninjutsu, so he said loudly, "Madara, can you show us the medical ninjutsu?" Madara quickly found two injured people, one with minor injuries and the other with major injuries. In order to let everyone see more clearly, Madara came to the stage and asked the patient with minor injuries to point out the location of the wound. Madara gathered green chakra with both hands and pressed the location of the wound. After a while, the wound disappeared. Everyone present had been staring at Madara, and they still found it incredible to see the injured man's wound heal by simply placing his hand on the wound during the process. Madara started to treat the seriously injured patient, and called Kamui to come over to treat him together. The two of them gathered green chakra with 4 hands and pressed it on the wound of the injured. This time everyone saw it clearly, and saw that the wound healed quickly from the inside out at a speed visible to the naked eye. This time they truly believed that medical ninjutsu could really increase the survival rate of ninjas. After the seriously injured patient was healed, he stood up and walked a few steps on the spot. It was completely invisible that he had been carried here by someone. Madara concluded with a few words, and his speech ended. Madara gave the place to Dezuzi, and in a place where no one else could see him, he wiped the non-existent sweat from his head, took a few gulps of water, and looked relieved. "I didn't expect that Brother Ban would also get nervous sometimes." Shinwei, who appeared from nowhere, said with a smirk on his face. "Shut up," Madara said, returning to his usual self. "How was my speech just now?" Madara said somewhat unconfidently. Very good, except that the smile is too stiff. But it's not a big problem," Shinwei commented objectively. "Hashirama's speech is about to begin. Guess what he will say?" Madara asked curiously. Madara and Kamui came to the stage and waited for Dazua's speech, but after waiting for a long time, Dazua did not come on stage. After sending someone to inquire, they learned that Dazua had abstained. Just now, the Great Pillar was listening to Madara's speech and found that many of Madara's ideas coincided with his own, and were even better than his own. In the end, Madara was willing to use the family's fire escape ninjutsu and pioneering medical ninjutsu to contribute to Konoha village. The Great Pillar felt that if Madara became Hokage, he might be better than himself, so he abstained. The Great Pillar abstained from voting, and Tobirama did not try to stop him, nor could he. Tobirama himself knew that he had no chance of becoming Hokage this time. When Ban heard that Dazuza had given up, he did not look happy at all. His face was as gloomy as water and he was very angry. He went straight to Dazuza to ask for clarification. "Hashirama, why did you give up? I can successfully run for the position of Hokage and I don't need your charity," Madara said angrily. The Great Pillar quickly explained that he gave up because the content of Madara's speech was too good. He compared the content of Madara's speech with his own ideas, took out his own speech for Madara to refer to, and asked about the meaning of Madara's speech. He also told Madara that he had recommended Madara to become Hokage. As Madara listened to Dazuza's explanation, his anger dissipated. He explained to Dazuza from time to time, and the two of them chatted until late at night. The next day, the daimyo's appointment letter was delivered to Konoha village. Uchiha Madara was successfully elected as Hokage and officially moved into the Hokage building. Kamui and Izuna were busy arranging the Hokage's inauguration ceremony, and Konoha village was full of joy. After the four major ninja nations of Wind, Earth, Lightning, and Water learned that the daimyo of Konoha village had appointed Hokage, they followed suit and established their own ninja villages.